whoever is on. You want to send it to whoever needs it in a view-only format. Yeah, but if you are working with maybe some designers that also need to have edit access, then that is when you want to, like when you're clicking on this share, that is when you want to, maybe I should check my own file. That is when you want to enable this. When you're sending it to them, that's when you want to enable this to be can edit. But if you're sending to one random person just to take a look at it, it's best to use view only. So people won't steal your work. They won't just copy and paste your stuff and use it, and they probably not get.
Diamond.
Hello? Is someone saying that I'm breaking off?
Abiodun, it's just you.
Oh, okay.
Babake's audio on my head is very, very clear.
Okay. Thanks for that, Ridwan. All right. So to protect your work, like I said, make sure you.
You have all these.
Small code there.
My people hate all this. I don't get that acronym.
Can you
I'm trying to mute
because it's distracting. Okay.
I shall like the way I learned.
So
I'm not be giving
and that says we should use prototype to design the
Zoom user, we don't even know what your name is. You are
Can you please mute yourself when you are on the call? Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, the reason why I said, I know you all understand what I mean by just send the view only, so that you don't risk losing all your work, right? Because there are some people, they just want you to send them the link, and then they have the edit access, they just pick all your work, and that is all. You won't hear from them again. The hours you've put on it is gone. So I think I should just say that. I also noticed some people sent me the prototype link, which is okay, but I wanted to take a look at the file itself. So yeah. So when I said you can send the view only part, so anyone that really wants to give you feedback can use the comments. Can use the comment feature and drop whatever feedback. So even if you're working with a developer, maybe you don't want developers to just suddenly delete anything, you can send them this view only, and then if they have questions, okay, let me open one of these. They have questions, they can, okay, this file not found. I thought I opened this earlier. Oh, whoever owns that file is not open. Okay, so like you see, this is view only, so I can only see, and then if I need to drop comments for the person, I can write my comment here that ooh, blah blah blah. So anybody that is asking me for, they want edit access, they wanted this access, so that I can give you comment, like tell them why, and don't fall for that. Yeah. So the first one is this. So this is very good. I see because what I did was I'm trying to compare. So when I open each of these, I try to compare it with what we currently have on the live on Play Store. So the screen this person did is the login screen, and then where you get to sign up. So these are the two screens. I guess I can't find login screen here. So this is the sign up screen. Oh, maybe I didn't capture the login screen, unfortunately. So I'm just going over the register screen. We really like what you do. So I mean, the goal of this exercise is not that size or whatever. Yeah, so what I have learned is when you want to really improve on the design part of the product design, you want to really improve on it, it is best. In fact, I've listened to industry experts like I think Mike Locke, I don't know that's the pronunciation of the name. He talked about taking some apps or some websites that you really admire or that you just like the app, you like the experience, you like the design, and try to design them like for pixel. Of course, like the goal when you are working on a real life project, you won't be designing one sample for pixel for pixel, but it's going to train you. It's going to teach you how to do things like in a very professional way, the way people that are more advanced or people that are in the industry, the way they are doing it, and then you start asking yourself questions. Okay, why is this one small? Why is this one as big as this? And then before you know it, you want to know the answers to those questions. And before you, if you do this 3 to 6 months consistently, you've created a lot of designs that in fact, when they look at the real one, they won't know the real one. They won't know the real one compared to the one you design. So you want to get to that state. So when you've practiced enough, then you can just forget whatever designs out there, and then you can design on your own without looking things up and stuff like that. So it's just a very good way to practice. So that's the reason for the exercise. So I'm going to compare this sign register page with what I have here, and they look very close. So, I mean, this is, for me, this is very good. If I'm going to rate this, so like I said, I won't be too detailed about, okay, what's the distance between here to here. But like when you start practicing, you want to be looking at stuff like that. So the width between here is like 93, the height rather is 68. If just gauging this with my eyes, I think it's a little bit, because I can't draw a rectangle here, I think it's a bit closer. But all those tiny details, you really want to keep them into consideration. So, and I one thing I also like about this submission is that the colors and the typography and the alignment. If you see, this is aligned to. Okay, do I have the alignment here? Okay, it's not here. As you can see, okay, yeah, it is here. It's aligned to the left. I mean, it would be very funny if you see someone align this to the right when the actual design align stuff to the left. So you want to be very detailed like that. So that's one of the reasons why I like this submission in particular. And so I feel who worked on this just needs to create more designs, pay attention to all those tiny details. And I mean, this is good already in my opinion. So the only feedback I think I have on the design was I tried to click on prototype because I said if it would be nice if we can add a little bit of interactions to it. I mean, maybe minimum of 1 or 2 pages. So this, yeah, if you look at this, yeah. So when I try to select some of these, it works, which is perfect. Like this is what you'll be testing with users, and then you put this in the user's hands, right? Is it working? Is it not working? You collect those feedback, you write them down, you document it, and you just go back to redesign it. And if you feel that redesigning it on an actual final design is taking too much time, you just step a little bit, you take one step backward and use a wireframe. If this, like changing the color, changing all these things, if it's going to take much time and you need to get your feedback as quick as possible, you just take a step back, use a wireframe like Ridwan showed us in previous classes, and then collect the feedback first from the user before implementing it on your final designs. Yeah, so I think this submission is very good. The use of icon, the placement, how is it placed, but I think here, if you look at this arrow, it doesn't look aligned. right? So, I mean, like I said, I know this is like the first stuff. And so if you look at this, it's not aligned. You have like 27 pixels to the top, and then you have 18 to the bottom. So if you just mere looking at this with your eyes, you see the select text is, I think it's centered, right? And then when you look at the icon, it looks off. So the same thing for this and this, like all these tiny details. When you really spend some time on it, you see that you compare your designs with professional ones, or even apps that are on Play Store, and you see that what you have is the same. You want to get to that stage. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I also want to do here, because when I try to click on some of the prototyping work, I have prepared a design I worked on. I'll see if I can just quickly walk through the prototyping part using prototype feature of Figma. I'll see if we have time for that. So we can see how I know some people already started that in some of their design files, which is very good. I want you to have more of this. One thing I've noticed from experience is when you prototype some of your designs, it's in fact, before you take it to your user, you yourself, you see what you are designing live, and then you get your feedback. Even me, that I'm using this thing, it doesn't work for me. So you need to improve. You need to improve it first before giving it out to your user to use it. So prototyping is very good. It's a very good step for designs. So I mean, this is my feedback on this. I like how detailed this is. Of course, we don't have much time, so we took only 2-3 screens. This is good. The use of colors is in fact is almost as the same as what we have here. So when practicing, that is what you want to aim for. It should be almost, in fact, the person that is looking at your design should think you are already working for that company. So when you do this more, and I think I'm going over it again, you see that it's going to help your designs. It will help your designs. Like pick Facebook, for example. Forget about redesigning that. Oh, I don't like the way Facebook put their icon here. Don't just try and replicate what they have. See if you can actually redesign it, and ask yourself questions like, okay, why do they make this text? For example, if I were you, I'll ask a question like, okay, why is this one faint? Like, so the goal is, this is a placeholder. You just want, you want to give the person a hint that, oh, put your name here. It shouldn't be like that obvious and be screaming in the person's eyes, right? So all of these things will make you start asking the right questions. And then if you look at this, when the input feed is active, the border color change. So you are telling the user, is like a feedback to the user that, oh, you are currently in this box, or you are not in this other box, you are currently here. So when you're designing too, you want to try to design to spec. So it's going to help your design skill. Basically. So if you look at this looks perfectly aligned to me in my own eyes. Of course, if I use the inspect element, okay, so I'm holding my option key here. My option key is telling me the okay, option on Mac or on the Windows. I think that is Alt, if I'm correct. Yeah, so if you hold it, it's going to tell you like the dimension. You see that, oh, this is 15 pixels to the left. So this is very aligned. It has 23 to the top, it has 23 to the bottom. So the text is sitting in the middle, and all those things. So, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this looks like what I want. And I will encourage whoever worked on this file to practice more, to do more designs, more screens, and then pick new project that they want to work on and have a case study on. I mean, this is like the foundation. You can use typography well. You know the right amount of spacing to use. You have this visual hierarchy. This is the first thing I read on this page. You would like to know you more, so I know how to register. And then you go to the next thing. So I'll just encourage you to do more, practice more, take screenshots, redesign it. Don't redesign it. When I mean redesign, redesign, like try to replicate. Yeah, maybe I should use that word. Like try to replicate it, practice more, and I'm sure like if you did this consistently for 2-3 months with multiple projects, I'm sure you'll be surprised with your your progress. I'm going to open the next one. So it's prototype. So when you see link that is as long as this, it's already even written here, proto something. So I wanted to see the file itself so I can go through it. So walk through the file. So this is another submission again.
Okay, this is what the first. Okay.
This is another submission that is really good, right?
Try documentation.
So this.
Okay. So, when you, I need someone to mute. Okay, I think the person is quiet. Yeah. So this is another submission that is really good. So when you are trying to check out prototypes, you can click anywhere, and it's going to show you this hotspot. That this is the only part of this screen that you can click on. So I want to compare. I don't have the login screen, so I can't really compare. Okay, so when I click on create account, so I see some animations going on here. I don't know if that's how it is in the main app, but it looks a bit off. But I know this session is not about interaction, all of those topics. Those are like advanced topics you want to find time to check yourself. But if you look at the interactions, is a bit like, I mean, this is really good. What the person did here is really good, but you need to improve on your animations. You really need to improve on it. It's good. You got like the typography, you got it well, the same way it's designed on the app, and then the buttons, everything is good. But there's this little rectangle stuff flying around. I mean, maybe you're just practicing interactions on your own, which is good, but you want to improve on that also. So what is happening there in your file? If we look at your file, I think you have two layers that are named the same way. So one is trying to move from one place. So if you want to maybe off the interactions, you can go to something like this. I mean, I'm always of the opinion that you should first complete your screens. Like I'm going to show you in my in this file where I have all of the screens designed first before I think about how they are going to interact. Like when you click on this, what happens next? But I just have those screens on separate. Okay. So you can, if you go to prototype, when you want to prototype something, you can always put off. Let me try and see if I can do this. Oh, it's not in a frame, so I can't type it now. Okay, I'm just going to leave that for later. So if I click this, I'm going to turn this to frame also. If I click on this, you can, yeah. So I think the person selected one of these settings, so it's doing animation by default. So you can just maybe leave it at instant for now, just for you to finish your designs first, and you can come back to how you want elements to move on your page. Okay, so I think someone is drawing on my screen. So Badamosi, I think you might probably, this is not the time to be very creative. You do that on your screen later. Okay. So I mean, this submission is good, but there are some few attention you need to pay attention to some stuff. Like when this design is showing me that I have this surname selected, and then there's this green stuff is active, and then whatever I'm not filling is grayed out, but you have this stuff that is not filled, and then you have it do like, I mean, just want to pay attention to all of these things, make sure that the stuff you are doing is aligned, right, to the design. So that's what I just wanted to see. And if I look at the design itself, your input is quite different from, I mean, if you look at the input, it's a box with a corner radius of I'm on the next one. I think I can close this now. with the corner radius, but you did something different, which is cool if you are practicing. But if you want to, like, what I recommend, that you don't have to take it, to be honest, is I take screens of UIs that I like and I try to replicate them and see how far I can go with those designs. And while I'm doing it, I keep asking myself questions. Okay, why did they? Because I know the people behind the design. Like, you can't pick a Facebook designer and say it's like people that are not experienced that are doing that. No, you know, a lot of professionals are working on that one screen. So if you try to replicate what they are doing, it's going to help you improve. That's my own theory. And yeah, so I think I'm done with this one. So, but I really like the submissions because you probably sampled the colors. You try to make the colors as close as possible, which is the part of the skills you need when you are doing UI. You can't cram all color codes on your head. You have to look it up somewhere. You have to, yeah. So these are part of it, and that's also the purpose of the assignment. Really, it's not just to see if you are perfect or not. I think this is the same thing I opened earlier, so I should be closing each one. Okay, this person moves his file. Maybe maybe we have something different there. I don't know, because prior to this class, I checked it out, and okay, we have the same thing here. I can't find it. I checked everything before this class and everything was there, but now it's gone. Okay, so I have to open the okay, I mean, this is not completed from what I can see, but this page is like the main dashboard. If I compare that with what I have here, okay, I mean, it looks similar, but I think the use of the icons, if you look at the way you did this, I don't know, there's something off in this part. Yeah, so I mean, I know this is, I can be very like easily spot what I feel is off, right? Maybe because I've been doing this for some time. So that's what you want to train yourself to for. When you design something, you just go for like maybe 3 hours. When you come back to it, you can easily spot, oh, why did I do it this way? Why did I do that way? You didn't finish this part because if you look at the design itself, you have this, oh, I guess you can't replicate this this graphics that is going on here. So maybe I understand. But the use of, if you look at the featured exams that you have here, if you look at the redesign itself, it's very obvious that this is like the title, and it should be obvious to your users. But if I compare it with yours, it's quite different. You're using a different typeface, semi-bold, it's lower. You're using 14 pixels. Maybe you want to bump up the size a bit. Make it more obvious. The same with the CMOS. Yeah, I mean, so all of these tiny details that are what really make your designs come out and make it really professional. So try to replicate the design as much as you can. Replicate it, like, yeah, that's the whole essence. So you look at this jam DTM and look at how tiny it is. I'm not saying it's not good and then that users can't use it. They can use it, but for this assignment, I just want to say how close they can be to the original design, which this for me is good. But again, you still need to improve on stuff. If you look at the top, this are not aligned. If you look at this, it's not aligned. When you compare this to this is like a bold with the color not totally black. Again, last week I showed us how to sample colors. You can just sample it. If you don't know it, you can sample it out and then use it in your own design. So I'm not sure that was done here. Okay, we have something close. But if I turn this weight to maybe something more bold, and then align this properly, I think we'll have something very similar to what we have here. Again, this is good. You need to design more stuff. If you look at here, if I hold the option key, I'm trying to, you have this 12 pixels, right, to the right here, 20 pixels to the top, and 19 pixels here. If you look at what you have here, it's totally different. You have up to like 31 pixels to the right here, so it's not consistent. And then I think the same thing for here. You have 19 pixels to the right. So like all these tiny details are really what separate professionals to. Yeah, I hope you get what I mean. Your bold, the way you use your font, the way you use your spacing, the way you use your alignment, and the way you use your colors. You want to be very, very picky with it, like the attention to details. Yeah, right. I think there's a prototype on this one. Maybe I can just check it out. While I'm checking out that, I'm going to place this around. I think this is good. You just need to practice more, right? Okay, so we don't have any prototype on this, right? So I'm just going to do I know I'm supposed to spend some minutes on this. I didn't spend this long. Okay. These are people are just removing their stuff or what? Okay, so like I don't have the login screen, so I can't really say. But from what I'm seeing here, the login, if you are looking at this, or maybe it's the prototype that's causing it. Maybe the person is using the wrong screen for this. I can see this small space here, but if you look at this side, there's a space. This text doesn't look aligned in the middle. The button doesn't look aligned. All of this doesn't look aligned, but this person is on the path. If you look at the rounded corner here, there's no rounded corner on this part, there's a rounded corner on this part, there's no rounded corner on this part. So there's inconsistencies that you want to improve on here. So these are really nice submission. And to be honest, the only thing I think everyone that submitted, and maybe people that are working on it, what you need to do more, honestly, is to practice more. And I'm telling you what I did. What I did was when I was starting, of course, I'm still learning. When I was starting, what I did was I'll just take screenshots of some apps that I like. I'll try to replicate them. And if you want to go to places like Dribble, which is more difficult, try to replicate them. Look at how they use their fonts. Look at how they use bold, semi-bold, regular. Look at how they use colors. It's going to help you. That's like design. And then you start knowing that, oh, I can't just make a design and put text to the left. Is there a reason for that? You'd have read it in an article that, people's eyes go in the format of F. So you want to start your text maybe here. Yeah. Okay, maybe I should write it. You want to start your text to the left for people to read, and you don't want your text to span too much with blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to improve your own designs too. So that's my take on the submissions. These are not beginner stuff anymore, because I've seen some of your UIs that you submitted that are really good. I just think the only thing you need more is practice, multiple practice. When you're starting product design, I know some people say you focus on quality over quantity, but at the start, you want to focus on quantity. You want to do as many designs as possible. You want to make mistakes. You want to design and redesign and redesign. That's the whole goal. When you have now gotten, maybe landed your first freelance project, or you're working remotely on a job, then you or even before working on the job, you want to focus on quality. But at the start, you want to really do as many designs as possible, make the mistakes, get feedback. Why when you give some of your designs to people that will really critique you, that will say, hey, what's this design? I can't even type, I can't even click on this button. when you get people like that, when you get their feedback, it's going to help you improve. And then, yeah, okay, because the reason I'm saying all of this is design is very opinionated. I think that's the pronunciation. Like people have different opinions. They'll look at this design and say, wow, this is the best design I've seen in my life. And you give it the design to somebody and say, why are you using this color? I just hate this color. This color doesn't make sense to me. And then, yeah, well, I mean, again, you don't have to listen to all feedback. But if you have stuff that backs the reason why you did stuff, like for example, you decide to make a text left align and readable and all of those things, and then somebody's not telling you that, no, this text should be, you should right align it, or it's telling you something that is completely off, then in that case you don't want to listen to all feedback. Yeah, so I think I also said I wanted to show you. So I'll just show you some of these screens randomly, and then hope we can learn one or two things from it. So this was a project I worked on. I also used it on my portfolio. So I just wanted to talk through how I did it. I mean, I won't touch everything because I think we have him, and then Ridwan still have some session is going to take us. We have the past assignment that was submitted. We'll take a look at it. And okay, so while I was designing this, my thought was on this screen was that, okay, if someone is using this app, I said it's for people that are learning. When you get to the first screen, like when this full screen is loading, what do I want them to see? I want you to know what this app is all about. You can study any course here, blah, blah, blah. And I also want you to know that it's free. So right on the button, I make sure the copy on the button it has the word free. I want you to know that it is not, you don't need to pay. And then I decided to lower if you look at this part, you see this pass-through is 40%. So we can't teach the whole of Figma on these sessions. Even Ridwan can't take everything on Figma. There's not a class about Figma. We just want to have an intro about this. So when you interact more with these applications, you see so many things you can do. So look at this part. I decided to make it 40%. So it's not the obvious thing on this page is don't stop learning. Click this button and get started. It's free. But yet, I still want you to know that these are like the title of stuff you can do. And to be very honest with you, I didn't think about this. I have used Medium before. I've seen how Medium they've done something similar in the past and part of their UI. And because I'm exposed to it, I tried to use the same concept here. Nothing is new, really. So, and then I have my login page. I tried to put I mean, these are just icons. If you look at them, they're icons that I showed us how to get plugins, how to use plugins from the community on the last time. So I have different icon sets here. I think I use the one from, I can't remember the name now. I use feather icons a lot, and material. I use material design icons. So there are tons of icons. There's Lucid icon. Lucid icon. I don't use it, but I have it as backup. So you can install some plugins that you don't have to be redesigning yourself, because some of the submissions I see someone trying to design icon itself, which is good. If you feel in the future you want to be designing icons, you want to do all of that, it is perfect, to be honest. But there are free ones that you can use for your work. Okay, I think everywhere is too quiet, so I want to know if everyone is following me. Maybe just unmute yourself and say hello, right? That would be good. Be good. Are you guys following me?
Yeah.
Follow us, with you.
Awesome. Okay, so thanks. So these icons are from the plugins. So use plugins too as much as you can. And I think there was part of some things Ridwan told us about contrast. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just in my head. So because I want the person's eyes to be focused on signing on this part, look at what I did, like already using Learner. I didn't make that the color, or what's it called. I didn't make the color. I made the color different from what I really wanted to focus on signing. So I mean, these are just like all these tiny details that you use in your UI. It is really good. And then these are pictures from another plugin again called what's it called now? We have, I think it's called, it's somewhere here, but I can't. Pexels. I think this is Pexels. So Pexels is like all these where you can get photos. You can get photos for your work. It's free. It's free photos for your work, and they have high definition photos that you can just copy. You can copy and paste. You can use them in your UI, and nobody's going to come and arrest you. Nobody's coming for you. So they have a plugin here too that you can just click on that plugin. Let me see if I can quickly show you. So if I draw a box and I want to use this pixel. Okay. So instead of drawing a box, I should have drawn a frame. If I draw a box now, if I click on any, oh yeah, it even worked. I thought it was going to work in the frame alone. So because I click on this box, what I know before is when I draw a frame, it's going to put the image directly into the frame for me. So I mean, it worked for box too. That's good. So you can use all of these plugins. So you don't have to spend too much time. You don't have to really waste too much time looking for stuff that are not really quality. There are tons of plugins that you can use for your work. So I use most of it here. And then if you look at the way I wrote this title, I made some light, I made some a little bit very pleasant to the eyes. What I wanted to focus on is the topic, and then the other ones are not the main important details. And yeah, so those are like all of these things, decisions you make in your UI, and they help improve your designs. If you look at the way I used some icons here, these are material icons that I use to show that this is the active one. I made it white, and then reduce the opacity of the other ones. And they are the same. It's the same size. It's aligned. They have almost the same spacing. Okay. Also, if you look at these pictures here, these are all stuff from Pexels, like I just showed you. There are pictures from Pexels. I just add them there. This logo is just a star. So the reason I'm doing all of this is you see that the more you design stuff, you'll be seeing new concepts, and you don't have to use all the concepts in this world that you know on just one UI, because you have so many things you want to do. So you use your stuff sparingly. So maybe you're working on a big project like web and all of those things. So yeah, this was the first design I did for this page where people select class. Well, I did like a mini test, user testing with someone like, okay, can you use this page? So when I created the prototype, I was like, it was this page that I had, but I want to show you how, or not talk to you, how user testing helped me improve on this page, and I'll show you how I improved it. So this is it. This is the first design that I gave whoever, I can't remember the name of the person now. And then the person, when you select, it should show that something is active. But I didn't have that on the UI. And then the person didn't even know what to do here. They were just clicking around. So to improve on that, I had this text. So with this text now, I've improved the experience. The person knows what to do. You know what is going to do on this page. I'm not leaving them hanging. So that's like UX. You've improved the experience of this page. The person knows what I'm supposed to do. Tap to select, and then okay, so this is how it works. Let me turn on this. So when you know that you're supposed to tap, when you tap, and then the next thing is, it shows that you've selected something with the green feedback that you see, and then it takes you to the next screen. So when you want to test a page to get quick feedback, you can always do that one. So give it to somebody, your brother, your twin, your sister, just tell them to try to use it. And then if you see they are struggle, you don't have to tell them that, actually, you don't know that you are supposed to click this thing. Don't tell them, because the way they react is what is going to help you. It's very valuable to you. When you see them struggle to do something, you know that, oh, it is my UI I need to improve, right? And so I used the same concept here. So this was like the first design I did. This was the first design I did for questions. But when I clicked on this, like I wanted to show, when you click on something that is wrong, it just show red border. I just wanted to improve it because people are used to like selection, to know that I'm selecting something. I redesigned it this way. So this was the new design that I did. So if you look at the first one, so if you look at this one, when you click on it, it will tell you next question. I mean, this was what I thought I should make it look like initially, but I changed it with just like adding a radio button. That's the only change I did on this page. I added the radio button, so when you select, it shows that you have made a selection, and then the system will check if the question is right or wrong. Somebody can design it using this format without using a radio button and it works, but at that time when I was designing this work, it didn't work for me, right? That was not the right solution. So I went with what people know already. There's a radio button, you need to select one, and then the select will tick it if it's right or wrong. If it's wrong, it shows you the one that is wrong. I mean, these are decisions you make as a product designer, right? So, and then this button is not there by default. When you've seen the final thing on that page, because you need to tell your user what next to do. They need to know what next to do. Then the button appear, and then tell them you go to the next question. They click it and they go to the next question. So I think I'm going to stop there. I wanted to show us some of this because I noticed in the last call we couldn't go through some of these constraints, auto layout, and all of those things, but I'm not sure we have that time now. I'm way out of time. I know Ridwan will be looking at me like, see this guy. Okay, so Ridwan, I don't know if you are there, so we can, okay, we can move on to the next thing. So we can't go over everything on Figma, but I hope you guys understand what I mean. Okay, maybe like one last thing before Ridwan takes over. I needed mockups to use for presentation that, oh, this is what I'm doing. Again, I used a plugin. It's called, I hope I remember the name. It's called I can't remember to be honest, but it's here. It's one of these plugins that I use to do all of this. For example, let me show you. You want to create, what's it called? A map. You want to create a map. I'm just trying to show you that you just need to play with this. You just need to play with Figma. Play with Figma as much as possible. You don't have to recreate map and say, I want to learn how to design map. You don't need it. There's a waste of time. There are so many to play with that will improve your UI as much as possible. So I think I'm going to stop there, because the more I keep looking around, the more I keep seeing something to talk about. So again, I can't remember the name of the plugin I use for this, but it's on my list. Maybe when I find it out, I'm just going to drop it on I'll drop it on our Slack.
Babake, that white page is sort of like a case study on this project.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe you can take them through that very quickly.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nice. Thank you. So if we look at this this site that I have, I mean, I do that I use for my portfolio. So when I did this part so this is the part. So before I even say I want to put it online, it needs to be online. The first thing I did was to do my layout first on what's it called, on Figma. So that was where I was like, okay, how do I present this app for people, like whoever is looking at this project first. What I wanted to just see something about the app. So that's where I thought about what if I have this screen, one example of the screen on your actual phone that people can see that, oh, this is a mobile app. So that's why I thought of this, and then I used this. Okay, I think this is the name, so flying more. Is it there? I mean, it's just strange. I can't see it now. Like straight up. I'm just going to leave that one. So initially this was not how this was. So like Ridwan took us one of the class. He talked about writing content. So I was more focused on how my content was going to go. I started writing stuff. So this one, most time what I do is I just put like a placeholder there that, oh, I'm going to come back to you. Maybe I'll just put it there that, okay, something is supposed to go here, a mobile UI. And then if you look at the background, so I still have it here. So so if you look at this background, I just have this empty space that says, I'm going to put a screenshot of the inner workings of the application here. So the same thing too here. Try to write what my content is going to be like. I try as much as possible to work with content, but sometimes I don't have content. But it's always good to work with content when you're designing. Try and come up with it, write it out. Then the goals, I've listed it. Here again, I have. Okay, so like I said, I'm not sure if I've told you before. So on this project, I didn't do actual research, like talking to people, going out to talk to people. What I did on this project, because there was lockdown at that time, so I was in the house. So I read up research that has been done by people, that has been done by this person, and I referenced him on the actual site, I think. Yeah, so I referenced his research. I read through the research where he talked about the impact of COVID-19 lockdown on education in Nigeria. So it was this research that I read about that gave me insight into what I want to design. Like, okay, what can we do? What can we do to solve this challenge in the way we can? Yeah, so that's why I started this UI brainstorming based on that research. So you have more write-up, or you have more stuff to document if you actually talk to people yourself and all of those things that Ridwan has showed us in the past. So, but in this case, I skipped it. I just took those points from the research that has been done by people. So I believe in this statement that sometimes you ride on the shoulder of people that have gone ahead of you, right? Just put your head on their shoulder and then you go faster.
Yeah, Baba, sorry, before you go on, I just wanted to talk a little bit more on that.
Okay.
That, I mean, so like all the conversation we've had, like all the classes we've had before now, right? We've always talked about like doing research, validating all of the ideas that you want to do, talking to people and all of that. But like we've also talked in, I think, one of our introductory classes, it's not every time you're going to have the resources and the time to be able to like do extensive research before you actually get into designing the product. Sometimes you don't even have the time to do research at all. And what you just have is an hypothesis that you're looking to test with the prototype that you want to produce, right? So you just have this idea, just a random idea that, so let's take it back to the idea of this Tom Ford. No, is it Tom Ford? This guy that created the first car, basically, right? At the time that he created the first car, obviously nobody had seen a car before. And if you had gone to anybody and asked them, if they wanted a car or anything like that, nobody would have said anything around the car. Everybody would have just said maybe they wanted a faster horse or things like that, because it was innovating on something that didn't exist at all in the market. So sometimes as a product designer, you might also find yourself in a situation where the concept that you're trying to work on is something that is completely innovative. It doesn't yet exist in the market. There really isn't like a lot of pointers in the market. It's just like an innate feeling of, oh, I have an idea to build this particular product. I believe it is going to solve this particular problem. And that is your hypothesis that you then build your product on and then take it to the market and see whether it works or, it doesn't work, or, whether people are going to use it or not, So sometimes, you don't really have sometimes you even have the time for the research, but there isn't anything available at all, because what you're trying to work on is completely new. It is very alien. It's an alien concept. And, you just have an idea, just an innate feeling that this is something that I need to work on. This is something that ought to exist already, but it doesn't exist. And then you decide to, just pull whatever it is that you can find together, build something, put it out there and see whether people are going to engage with it or not. So that's another kind of scenario that you can find yourself as a product designer. It's not every time, you do research, you do survey, you find people to, do all those kind of things, So thank you, Baba.
Thank you so much. That was super helpful. Because in our situation in Nigeria, for example, most okay, I know you have a question, but I'm coming to that. In our situation, most times it's difficult. Sometimes you don't have the resources. What is the time to conduct research and all of those kind of things? So sometimes you want to do exactly what Ridwan talked about. And for me, it helped me. At least I was able to break the barrier of the research part when I couldn't even go out. I couldn't even talk to people. There was lockdown, and I've seen somebody that have done the research. I went through it, look at the problems it's stating, and come up with a solution that, okay, I think, and then even this solution is not even the right one, right? Because now not all students have access to phones, to mobile phones. Some don't have an internet.
It was more or less like just
Timileyin, can you please unmute yourself? Thank you. So if you go down to the key learnings I wrote here, I think I didn't even write it. So I'm like, so part of the challenges I have with when I do stuff, it is not everyone. Okay, so it is not everyone that has access to. So it's okay. Again, I didn't add all of that here, but when I was doing this, I already started seeing the challenges that this is not, like having a mobile phone might not solve all our problems. So these are the things recruiters want to see. They don't expect you to solve the problem after you might not even solve the problem. It might be a failed project, and they just want you to talk about it. Like, yes, when I finish this thing, I noticed that man, this thing cannot work. If this thing and that one is not in place, forget it. This thing cannot work. So, for example, if students don't have free internet in their classrooms, or when they get home, they can access mobile phones, or they can access internet, or maybe the project itself is available offline, that they can just use offline without internet, which is one of the things I really like about when I was at Pastor with Imole, the conveyor of this program. They did the software for people writing WAEC, JAMB, they did it completely offline. So all you need is just install it on your Windows laptop and then be using it. You don't have to connect to the internet and blah, blah, blah. So which was very fantastic, because they know the context of the country. They know like everything, the limitations and the challenges people face. So they were able to come up with a product that people were able to buy. I mean, people bought the product like crazy. So yeah, so I think, okay, so I have all of those things here on Figma first, before even saying I want to now look for, okay, which application can I use. If you look at here, onboarding, a screenshot onboarding video should be displayed. I just have it like a placeholder here, and then on the final, when I was doing the final one, I created like it's still Figma. Okay, I think here I use a little bit of Figma and Protopie. I wanted to show you Protopie today, but unfortunately my license is expired. But there's a good news. Protopie said by May 30th, they are going to make it free for everyone to use. You can make 2-3 prototypes for free. So you can do something like this, although you can do part of this in Figma. But to be honest, I know there are some crazy Figma users. I am not as crazy as that. I can't do this on Figma like that, but I know people can do it. But me, when I'm done with my screens, I just export everything to Protopie and I do something like this on Protopie, and then I can record. So they have this inbuilt recorder where I can just record what I'm doing. And then even Protopie allows me to connect my own iPhone or my Samsung phone. I can use any of the two to feel it like real life, even without developer coding it. So for me, Protopie works better. I know Figma has all of it, so I don't want to get into that argument. You can choose whatever tool you want. So by May 30th, if you still want to learn Protopie in your spare time, it's going to be free for some, I mean, that's limitations. You can only create maybe 3, 4, maximum 4 prototypes, but it is now free. You don't have to pay to use it, which is good news for me. And then if you look at this, I have the same thing here. So I think I'm just going to scroll down. So I have the same, I've written the content. The only thing I now know is, oh, let me start working on creating this walkthrough video. So it helped guided me to think through each of the steps for the app. And then the same thing for the ear, the same thing for, then I wrote the recommendations and I wrote my key learnings. And yeah, I got some design assets from Academy and all of this. Yeah, so I think that is it. So you want to, and don't rush with like, oh, I want to do multiple projects. Like pick one project, look at it, try to design it, see now get back, talk to your friends, anyone that you know that can just use it and give you feedback. Not people that will be lying, that will say, in fact, Baba, in fact, your design is Facebook standard. No need to know kind of people. So yeah, so I think one of the things I also like Protopie about is I can import a video. If you can see, this is a video, a live video I imported. I took the video from, what's it called, from that Khan Academy, and like when you click on the video, it's going to play. Figma cannot do that. So that for me, I'm biased towards using Protopie more for my interactions when I want to do interactions, because it gives me more. But again, like I said, there are crazy Figma users that can do this thing that I've done in Protopie. They will do it in Figma for you. So I think with that, I'm going to pause and let Ridwan take over the next session. Thank you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, don't stop sharing your screen, yes. Hold on.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I mean,
it is well.
Okay, has a question. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. So,
evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Me, I need prototyping. I don't know how to prototype, please.
Okay. Can we quickly? Okay, that means we'll Ridwan. Can we quickly go through that? I mean, just to show them an example of that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay. So I'm just going to use some few screens.
But wait, Baba Kenny. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
Okay, so I mean, before now, did you already attempt to, maybe watch like a YouTube video on this, on like the whole idea of prototyping?
Yes.
And maybe then run into some specific problems that you'd like us to tackle, or you've never attempted it at all, and you have just seen what Baba K has done. It's very impressive, and you want to know how he was able to do that.
No. What I want to do is I can do normal prototyping, like from frame to one frame. But what I want to do is, okay, if I want to, going into login, and probably I want to go detailed. I want to go more detailed. Like if I'm a user, I want to go to know more about that company. Those things I want to, click on. So I want to be able to click on several buttons to check what this company offers, or like the company is I built an app that talks about a company, and I'm putting myself in my shoe, what my users will be clicking on and all that. So it's not only one button my users will be clicking now. So I don't know how to prototype to other buttons. So how do I do that?
Oh, so I mean, that prototyping in Figma is not just about frame to frame. It's also like all the elements to like other.
Yeah, that's where I don't know how to go about.
Oh, okay. That one is very straightforward though. Okay, Babake, please, do you want to do that?
Well, so I think we'll probably not do that on this call. Like I told you, I'm not a Figma expert, so you probably want to check the tutorial on that.
Okay,
But
hey, please don't leave your children. No.
if I mean, I can do all of it. I'm very comfortable with prototype, like I said. But I said
Just like
doable with Figma, which is
business aspect. If you don't do this, that is how this like, don't even waste
Zoom user now.
I think this Zoom user will expel him soon.
This Zoom user.
Okay, so I mean, so if you want to do prototyping is doable on Figma. You just have to probably watch some more videos, like read more articles. Is doable. They even have this feature called interactive components where you can prototype the tiniest detail on, I think, Figma.
Yes, Mr. K, that's where I am. That's the part I'm the component, variant, property. I don't know how to use that. Use to do the interactive for the tinier ones.
Okay. Maybe we don't want to touch on that now. We'll probably take that out of this class because I didn't prepare for that. Right. But I can show you if we have time, but I don't think we have all of the time. And yeah.
Yeah, although I've watched YouTube, but while they are doing the teaching, I can't see it. When somebody is teaching you on the screen, like on YouTube now, the what they are clicking on, it's very tiny. You can't see. They didn't zoom out, so you can't really see what they are teaching. So I was like, what is this guy touching? Where is he going to? I'm confused.
You know what? I think I'll look for like a very good resource that can help you and probably send it to you. Maybe it's an article or maybe it's a video that will maybe solve.
I can see what they are doing. Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, I think so. The next thing we want to do now is we want to go over like previous submissions, previous assignment that we had, and then Mr. Ridwan is going to talk us through maybe how he was going to do it or the people that have submitted and all of those things. So I'm just going to leave it to him now.
Okay. Yeah, Baba K, I was going to talk on that your case study before you.
Oh, okay. I'm going to
ask that question, please. Sorry, Baba.
No problem at all. I think I'm sharing my screen again. Okay.
Yes, you are. So just that case study part, please go back to that side. Okay. So so this is like a great place to start. So number one, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for everybody that has been with us since we started. And we are almost at the finish line now. And I hope that for everybody who has been with us since the very beginning, has gotten one or two in terms of like the expectations you had when you joined the program. I hope you've been able to learn the fundamentals of product design, and you've been able to answer some of the questions, like the burning questions you've had around just started in product design altogether, and you have learned a lot of things about like the research phase, the design phase, the prototyping phase, like we have seen with Babake now, so I just hope the class has been impactful for everybody that has been on it. So the reason why I wanted to touch on this, right, is because the assignment from the last class, right, this was the kind of thing that we were supposed to come up with, right? And then in like all the submissions that we got, we had a few really great attempts. We had a few other attempts that, still needed a lot of work to be done, right? So Babake, I'd like you to just go from the top to the bottom and just touch on each of the points here, just very, very quickly, maybe like just 10 seconds on each of them. And then I want us to go from that to all of the assignment submissions so that we can all see the difference between what we were supposed to do and what we have done. Babake, sure you get that?
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay. Yes. So I'm just going to okay. Should I continue with this project or maybe
yeah. With this project, just from the top, in the top you have the the summary. You have the summary at the top there, you know, with the mock-up by design. You try to talk about, you know, what kind of projects is this, what was your role and all of that. And then after that, you go into like, you know, more detail about the projects and stuff. So just like very quickly, this is the summary, this is this is that, all to the very end. And then we'll transition from that to the assignment submissions one by one so that we can review and see, you know, the things that everybody could have done better in terms of the assignment submission.
Okay, all right, thanks. So I think for this, you know, like whoever is going to look at your project is mostly recruiters, and they don't have the time. Like they would probably not scroll down. So you want to make sure you catch their attention like the first 3 seconds. Like you just want to get their attention. So that was the reason why I did this. And then I wrote exactly what I did there. And there are some people that will go as far as they will just put, instead of the one I have this like a workable interaction about how the product is being used. Some people have it at the top, but the reason why I didn't do it that is because I'm going to host it on a website. So I don't know if this video is going to load quickly for on the first go. So that's why I decided to put a picture there. So the first thing you want to do is you want to catch the attention of who you are submitting your project to. On like at the first instance, you want to get their attention. You want to go straight to the point. Even this person doesn't scroll down to look at the remaining. If they are maybe tired and they are bored at that time, because you don't know how their day is, they might be stressed and they just saw your portfolio and like, okay, let me just look at this guy, and then they are not really interested in looking at much. So you want to get their attention as much as possible on the first go. So I just went straight to the point. I told them my role here. I spent 2 weeks doing this, and the scope of this design is a mobile app that is focused on delivering high quality learning content to users using gamification as a part. I think Zoom user is here again.
No.
No, Zoom user to your low. Yeah, sorry, Baba. Keep going, please.
Okay. So so I quickly went straight to the point on the first go, and then I have these images of screenshots of the inner workings of the app, hoping to catch the attention of the person, at least scroll down, see that I have good stuff to show you. So that's the whole idea. I have this one here. I mean, this is the way I saw it. Like anybody can redesign it anyway. There's no right or wrong way of doing it, but just make sure that whatever you are doing, you want to catch the attention of the person that is going to look at your project on the first, let's say first impression. Although sometimes in real life, the people that don't make the first impression, sometimes they do well, but when it comes to this one, project design, I'm looking for something, you want to catch their attention as quick as possible. So, and then I talked about the challenge, which is the same thing we expected from the assignment that we're giving. We talked about challenge. This one I'm referencing is research, but from the assignment given, we wanted you to do actual research, like talk to people, document what you got, and all of this. And so that was like what we expected. And then you talked about the goal. What do you aim to achieve at the end of the project you are working on? And to be honest, sometimes you don't need to have all your app solving all the problems. Maybe you just want to, for example, I've seen someone in this our cohort, in this our product design class that has reached out to me and they wanted to solve a problem on a feature on OP, which is fantastic. You don't have to say you want to redesign the whole thing. You just want to solve a feature that you feel if they improve on this feature, it will make sense, which for me is good, right? So you talked about the goal of your project, and yeah, so I talked about part of the ideal people I feel should be using this application, people that we are targeting. This one is Gabriel, is objective. You want to prepare for my end of term examination, and we talked about the behavior and what are his motivations, all of those things that capture what an ideal user would be for this our app. So we expected you to have something like that too for your project. That, okay, who do you think, who are the people? Not even who do you think, because if you do the research, you will know the category of people that should be using your app. And you don't, as a product designer, you are not designing for everybody. I mean, not in most cases, you are not designing for every like 60-year-old, although there are some apps like maybe WhatsApp, some like Google Maps that almost all the age brackets they are using, but we are not there yet. We want our project to be focused on particular kind of people. Yeah. So I mean, I said that because you don't have to like include everybody in your project. So then the first thing we wanted to like, okay, I know it might be like too much work to have this interaction and all of these things ready, but at least if you can maybe put all the screens, maybe like all those 3-4 screens that make up the onboarding or what you have in mind for the app, I think it would be good also. And then you talk about the same thing for returning user, where you have all of the screens side by side. This is how it will look like when they've not filled the form. How it will, okay, maybe I should just show you here. So maybe you are on this returning user, and then you just have this UI side by side. Okay, yeah, I think I should show you this. So there's this screenshot I took also from one of the apps that I really like. And yeah, although I didn't eventually use their format, but I mean, if you look at it, I took some patterns from there. So you can also have some of these screenshots somewhere on the page, like, okay, if they've not filled the form, this has been, okay, no, I'm showing the wrong thing. If they've not filled the form, I mean, you can just have it placed side by side, like they've not filled the form, if they've not selected anything, this is how it looks like. They select something, this is how it looks like. If they are right or wrong, this is how it looks like. So we expect something like that too for your submission. You don't have to be like pixel perfect and make it everything is like this. Engaging learners. I have something like this to show. So with this, whoever wants to read the text can read. Whoever just want to look at the prototype can look at it. I mean, yeah, that, and then you write the recommendation, like, okay, after you are done with all of these things that you did in the project, I mean, you can recommend stuff that, okay, we feel that if we have this will be better, and then which also lead to your key learnings, what you learned during the project. Man, when I was talking to people, they were never ready to tell me anything. In fact, the woman that I was talking, I know that she just lying, like all of those things. So now, if people you're talking to were not interested in talking to you, maybe, so the next question is, how do you talk to people that will actually need these ones? Or is there something that they need? If you've given them an incentive, would they have responded to you better? So those are the key learnings that will go here, that you write down. And then, I mean, so that's exactly, or that's like something similar to what we expected from the assignment. I know it's a lot of work, but it's doable. All right. Okay, Ridwan, I think.
Thank you very much, Babake. So yeah, I mean, we needed to do that so that we can all understand, you know, what it means to, you know, work on a project and then put it together like this for other people to see. So I mean, so one fundamental understanding that we must all have as product designers is that the work that you do, or the work that we do, because I'm also a product designer, is to design the experience of different products that people are using, that people are engaging with. And your portfolio and case studies is one of those things that your, you know, potential company that you want to work with are also going to engage and interact with. So you want to build the experience of that for them to be able to, you know, understand, you know, the work that you do, everything that you did essentially, right? So you have to first look at it from the perspective that this person wants to hire me. For them to hire me, what are the key things that they want to know that would help them make a decision to hire me? So number one, you want to show them that, you know, you understand this work, you understand the process, you understand everything, and every decision that you made in terms of, you know, the projects that you put together were not just based on your own assumptions. It's also, you know, based on, you know, research that you've done. It's based on testing. It's based on, you know, industry benchmark and all of that, you know. So you want to capture all of those things within your case study so that they're able to see, that they're able to understand, you know, the process that you do, the research that you do, and all of that, you know. So that's that's what you really, really need to cover in terms of, when you're putting together any case study, any presentation of the work that you have done, so that's like very, very key. So based on that, now we'll then go over all of the submissions that we got for the assignments, right? And then see all the opportunities to have done something a little bit different. And I was also going to say that as a product designer, you would meet a lot of product designers with varying level of expertise when it comes to visual design, right? But that is not what defines you as a product designer, to the best of my understanding, to the best of my experience. What really defines you as a product designer is the depth of your thinking. That is the most important thing, and the quality of ideas that you come up with, and how you're able to communicate that in like using the simplest words, the simplest terms, and all of those things. Those are like the key things. Because when you look at like applications like Facebook, for instance, it's not like the most beautiful product. It's not like, it can be a lot better in terms of like the UI, right? But then that's not really it. A lot of thought has gone into like how simple it looks, and that's where all the work even comes in. Because you can imagine the designers working at Facebook, right? These guys, they are gods when it comes to design. They understand all the prototyping tool, they understand all the design tools, they understand all the design trends, all the different kind of colors, all the different types of icon, all the different types of illustration. They understand all of those things, yet they decide to use just one thing. So you can imagine how much you need to know so much and decide to use just little, just because of certain things and stuff, So ultimately your journey is for you to grow deeper in your thinking, in your rationale for different decisions that you want to take, So that's like the most important thing. So as you continue to sort of like get better in terms of your visual design skills and all of that, what is really going to define your career at the end of the day would most likely be the depth of your thinking, the quality of the ideas that you come up with, and how deep you really go in terms of making sure that the work that you've done really, really genuinely solves a problem, and it's not just something cute and something beautiful that doesn't really solve any particular problem. So based on that,
sorry, before, I mean, the point you just mentioned now, I think is very vital, and I really want everyone to listen to that, because it is not just about the shining, and in fact, that's why we took our time very well. Like, I mean, we deliberately didn't rush to the UI. If you notice, like this, like the last end of the whole thing, that's why we're not talking more about the polished visual and all of those things. It is more about like those processes that we've talked about that leads to the final one. I have seen applications that they are not even fine. They are not close to the things the submissions I've seen on this class. That, I mean, and they are top designers that are on it, and they won't tell you that that they don't know how to design. They will say, I'm not, because my visual is not that mind-blowing, then I'm no longer a product designer. It's a lie. Everybody knows that in an ideal team, you can't do all of it. You always meet people that are better than you in terms of visuals. You see people that are better than you in terms of research. You see people that are better than you in terms of content writing. But for us as Nigerians, we need to have a bit of all of this knowledge. And then when you are at it, you now know where you want to really deep. You want to have like, what do you call it? Someone made an illustration at the time that career is about having this letter T, where T is like you have the one at the top of T is like you have an overview of most topics in product design, but you now have like the other vertical one that goes down. You now have a path where you really like you're an expert in that place. So that's what all of this is all about. You can't know everything. It's not even possible. You can't be the baddest visual designer. You can't. But you just have to keep improving yourself. Like, okay, this part, I'm not too good on this part, I need to work on. But that part that you know very well, if it's research, if it's how to put thoughts together till you get to the final solution, please own your skills on it and be the best at it. I mean, I just want to be very clear on that one. Everything is not just about the final UI, blah, blah, blah. No. It's totally wrong. It's not even the right perspective for product design. So what he said now is very, very valuable. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Baba. So I am going to share my screen now.
Okay, I should stop sharing. Oh, I didn't even stop sharing. Sorry.
Seeing all your meta work up and down. Okay, so let me look at all we have here. Okay. So this was the assignment from last week, right? And it was supposed to bring together everything we have learned over the last 6 weeks, right? The research we have learned, building user flow, user stories, synthesizing your research data, making sense of the data that you've gotten, exploring like different research methods to be able to get the kind of data you need to make the decisions that you need to make on your product. And putting together wireframes and all of that. So this assignment was supposed to bring all of that together, and then so that we can see that we have all been following along with everything, right? And the task, or the scenario rather, is that according to the World Health Organization, and which is actually real data. Actually, if you go online and research this is actually real data. Diabetes is the 9th leading cause of death among adults, and an estimated 1.2 million people die from diabetes annually, right? And then, just further medical research that I did reveal that certain diet plans can help people with diabetes manage their blood sugar levels, right? And, so based on that, having that as the context, the task would then be that, or the task is following the double diamond product design process, design an app that people suffering from diabetes or other similar illnesses can use to get diet recommendations for staying healthy. And then the extra credit for this particular task is if you can show a way to monetize the app, which then brings a business angle to everything that you're doing. And if you recall, in one of our introductory classes, one of the things that me and Babake emphasized a lot is that the final work that you do has to balance 3 things, basically 3 very, very essential things. The number one is your user needs, right? So the product needs to be able to fulfill a user need. It needs to fulfill something that people want to do, right? So that's one. Number 2, it needs to fulfill a business need, right? So if you are doing something and the client who is paying for it cannot make money from it, it doesn't make sense at the end of the day, So it has to fulfill the user need, it has to fulfill the business need. And, all of these things, they are not cast in stone. Sometimes you can get to the market and, like the first thing that you launch doesn't really have a business angle yet. It's just, you just put it out there. You want to see if people would even engage with it. Once it is now out there and people are engaging with it, you can now do some further research to sort of find how you can introduce a business model to it. For many startups around the world, many times they go on for years and they are not even making money yet. But they shall know that so long as people continue to use it, they'll figure out a way to monetize the product, So it doesn't mean that because we have said, the product has to fulfill a business need, it means that from the very beginning, it has to do that. That's not always the case. In fact, most of the time, that's not the case. But it makes sense that you sort of think about these things from that particular angle. It's very, very key, especially when you're working on like one-off projects, right? When you're not working as on an in-house team, you're working on like a one-off engagement, maybe a client reaches out to you, they want to build a particular thing. It makes sense when you're able to think about like the business angle to that particular thing, And then the third very, very critical thing is for it to be within the capacity of your engineering team, So it has to, 1, fulfill a user need. 2, it has to fulfill a business need. Then 3, it has to be within it has to be realistic. It has to be something that your engineers can do, within the time that you have to fulfill that particular thing, So those are like very, very key, which is why it's like an extra credit if you're able to do that, right? And, we talked about the submission. We wanted everybody to, everybody who was interested to submit by 12 o'clock midnight on Saturday, right? But then we only got about 6 submissions. I understand that the time was really short. But I was hoping that, we'll be able to do some very, very aggressive sprints. I guess, maybe many people didn't have the time to do it, or maybe people were confused, or maybe people were overwhelmed with like so many things that they wanted to do. So, we'll just go through some of the submissions that we got. Big shout out to everybody that came through, regardless of whatever it is that you submitted. And again, I also want to stress how important it is for you to show up, right? at the end of like this class, right, I want us to take a lot of not just like technical lessons away from this, but also life lessons, right? Many times when you have a task to work on, you don't always come correct on all of these things, right? And that is totally fine. You sometimes you come through with your A game, sometimes you don't. But you need to show up every time, regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of. So a lot of times I found that many people, when they think about the concept of showing up consistently, they always think about it from the perspective of showing up perfectly every time. But that's not really it. Showing up consistently is not about showing up perfectly every time. It's about showing up regardless of how you are. You know, the days when you're feeling A, the days when you're feeling B, the days when you're feeling low, the days when you're feeling half, you know, however it is that you're feeling, just show up, right? Which is what I also expected of this assignment, right? So regardless of whatever it is that you are able to put together, I wanted to see the submissions from people and just sort of like evaluate that and see, oh, okay, how are you thinking about this? And then we'll be able to build on that, right? So all the like beautiful things and the most successful and the greatest things in the world today started from something, right? So just start with something, whatever it is, no matter how small, no matter how little, no matter how ugly or unrefined it is, just start from there and then we can continue to build on that. So I'd like for us to have that approach towards everything in life. No matter how terrible it seems, like just start from there and then we'll continue to build on that, you know. So so again, shout out to everybody that submitted. Ngozi, she's not able to join the call today, I believe. She reached out to me earlier on. But I must see Miriam.
I'm here.
Hey, Ngozi, how are you doing now?
I'm fine.
Okay. So Miriam, Peace, Abiodun, Iyola, Adeyemi, shout out to everybody that submitted that. I mean, there are a couple of people I was really looking forward to. Lily, Nuhu, Babatunde, and all of the people that we had the last session with together. I was really looking forward to you guys' submission. Taufikat and all these other people, I didn't get that, so that made me sad a little bit. But I'm happy about the people that did submit. So let's go through each of the submissions one by one. Let's go through Ngozi. Let's see what Ngozi has. Yep. Ooh, okay. This looks good. Ngozi, do you want to talk us very quickly through what you did? Are you able to do that?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So it's an app for diversification. So I started off, I was confused when I got the assignment, but I now use the templates that Habib shared. He said last time I gave an assignment. So I did a little, I don't know what diabetes is, and identify the problem diabetes, WHO.
There's sort of like a lot of noise from your background. Yes, we can hear you, but
I'm sorry. So implementing the WDAM product design approach that I used. I tried to use the typing form, the one that we used at the last class. But after taking 10 responses, it said I couldn't do anything again because I need to pay. So I had to switch to Google Forms to get my survey to ask questions from people who may be diabetic or even have people who are diabetic, just to have a feel of what we think it is, if it's actually a problem, and not just numbers online. So that's how I was able to get rid of the data I have. Thank you. Keep scrolling. And then after which
your background is noisy. So Ngozi, don't worry. That's fine. It's okay. Let me take it from here because we are not able to really hear you very clearly, and it's very, very distracting. So let me just take it from here. Ngozi, would it be possible for you to share the link to this Figma because we can't see this basically?
Oh, I shared the link on the Word. Yes.
Okay. I see it. Okay, so the first feedback I have on this, right? I know that, I mean, just looking at this, I can see that you try to do some research here, you try to do some things here. So the first problem here, or just like the first thing that could have been done better here, is in terms of the typography of this, right? So if you remember I think maybe the last class or the class before that, we talked about typography, right? And we talked about how there's hierarchy, right? Where you're trying to show this is the first thing, like you're trying to organize things in order of importance, in order of relevance, which then helps with readability of the thing that you're trying to present, right? So now in this presentation that you have here, there are some things that are like the subject. There are some things that is the body. There are some things that is the points that you're trying to, mention here. But it is hard to tell. Everything is just like one straight thing, right? So here you have this headline here, which is like the subject, which you could have made bigger to make it like this is the topic. And then what is the ability? You can bolden that, and then the text under would be regular. And then the identifying the problems is maybe like a subtitle. And then, just to organize this in order of how you want people to read this, right? It's important that you're able to show that this is the headline, this is the body text, this is the title, this is the subtitle and all that. In UI design, you probably have things like your T1, your T2, your T3, your T4, which sort of like show the hierarchy of things. This is the most important text, this is the body text, this is what you should first see, this is what should follow that, that sort of thing. So that's like very, very key. And I hope that you have done that in this document that you put together on Gossi. I hope you're able to make that update to this, right? So you started with what is diabetes, right? Which makes a lot of sense. You want to, let us understand that, what exactly is diabetes, right? So you try to go into that. You then talk about, identifying the problem. Diabetes is the ninth, that's the problem. And then you talk about the process that you did, right? What is the process, the double diamond process, right? So going through the discovery process, with the problem being identified, there's an English problem there. So that could be, I believe, maybe having identified the problem. I'm talking about this particular text here. So having identified the problem, again, I mentioned to you guys that understanding English and being able to like use English properly is very, very key. Because like in this presentation now, it is English that people are going to read, So with the problem, so having identified the problem, you conducted research in order to gather data to sort of like just properly understand the problem and the people who are affected by that problem, right? So you gathered data from 56 individuals. Wow, that's like a lot. And from this, you are able to draw your conclusion. Essentially, what you did there is to synthesize your data, right? So you have your data, you're sort of like trying to make sense of, okay, what are the patterns here? What are people trying to do here? So based on that, your survey question included things like, do you have or know anyone with the medical condition diabetes? How do they get recommendations on their diets and all of that? And then the responses you got, you shared the screenshot here, which makes sense. If they know anybody, if yes, how is their diets and all of that. I'm just skimming through all of these things. And then based on that, you went straight to designing the wireframe, which is sort of like jumping the process, right? So after understanding the problem and the people who are affected by the problem, there are a couple other things that you want to do before going straight into your wireframe. You want to sort of first get into like putting together your requirements, right? So based on all these things that you understand that based on all these things that you understand about the problem and the people who are affected by the problem, you need to have your persona first, so you didn't show us the people who are typically affected by this problem, right? Are they, you want to present like the demographic and the psychographic information about these people. So are they young people? Are they old people? Are they maybe working class? Are they jobless people? So all that information you want to present that because, and what is their pain points? What are they trying to do? What are the existing solutions as well? You also want to show us, aside from you talking to people who are affected by this problem, you also want to review the existing solutions. So how are they currently solving that problem? Are there apps that they're currently using? Are they getting recommendations from their doctor? What is the problem with the existing solution? So you want to first get into all of those things because the information you get from all of that process would inform the features you decide to add into your own design, into your own products that you want to build, So that's an important step that you missed. it's like very, very critical before you get into designing the wireframe and getting into all of these things, right? So all in all, I think this is like a great effort. This makes a lot of sense that you did all of these things, but I would have liked for you to, having gotten all of this information, it's important that in the conversation you had with those people, you try to understand what is their current solution, and based on their current solution, you sort of like analyze their current solution as well. What's the problem with their current solution? What are those kind of people put together, like their user persona, what's their pain points, why are they struggling with their diet and all of that. So you then use that to make decisions on what are going to be the requirements of your product, how are you going to build it, what's that user story, before you then start to get into like your wireframe, your designs and all of that, Who got you? Did you get that?
Yes, I did. I did, sir.
Babake, I don't know, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, like that was perfect. But my question would be, did she interview those 65 people? It was like a research that was referenced. I mean, it was that was a lot.
I sent out the link to family and friends.
Okay.
I know that I had friends, family members who may be diabetic.
Because I know that diabetes and all of those diseases, they're like a sensitive topic, and then people might not want to say, yes, I am diabetes, I plead the blood of Jesus. This kind of thing.
So I was able to use the type tool from app, because that one was more expressive, and I was able to ask really, really deep questions. And the first 10 questions that I got really, let's say, really deep interviews, if I'm doing that one. Answers basically about how they've been coping with diabetes and all, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, thank you. So I don't know if what I want to ask next is the question, but there's a comment on the chat that could we have used reference on WHO facts and figures regarding the assignment. So for me, I'll let Ridwan also put this comment here. Yeah. So for me, if I was doing this project, because my initial thought would be, where would I even see a diabetic patient like this? So I think for me, I've started with the facts from maybe WHO or other bodies that have done research like this, and I'll make sure it is very recent, maybe something that is conducted last year or this year, and then look at some of these figures, so it will help me to start extracting some of my the features that I think should go into my low fidelity or my wireframe, to start helping me to look at the demographic of people that are having this disease, how can we stop it, all of those things. So those, if I look at those references, I think it's going to help me, although I don't want to assume too, but at least I can start thinking about, okay, the features that would work for a product like that. So I think starting with reference material already is also, I would recommend that, yeah. Back to you, Mr. Ridwan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same page with you. Definitely, like we saw in Babake's presentation earlier, he made reference to certain resources that he found on the internet, which is what I also mentioned earlier, that it's not every time that you have the time of the resources to go and be talking to people one after the other. Many times, Google is really your friend. You find a lot of information on the internet, but just like Babake mentioned, you also want to sort of like filter that to make sure that the information you are using is something very, very recent, because you can't be building something in 2022 and you're making reference to data from 1990. It has to be like very, very recent data. It has to be from a credible source as well. You want to sort of like make sure that it is something that you can cite, so that's like very, very key. So yes, to your question, you can definitely make reference to the things that you find on the internet. You might not always have the the time to be able to go and actually talk to people, engage people, interview people and all of that. There's like the amount of information on the internet alone, is crazy. It's only that unfortunately, when you look at Nigeria on the other hand, so in the abroad, right, you have a lot of people doing like a lot of research. So you have like a lot of facts and data on like different industry, different situation and all that. Unfortunately, in Africa, specifically in Nigeria, there's a research gap in Nigeria, and it's not really our problem. It's really because of our government.
Very true.
And our government, when you look at our budget, for instance, how much of our money is even going into education anyway? So if money isn't going into education, that means money isn't going into research. And if money isn't going into research, that's the reason why Nigeria is where it is right now. Because when you look at more developed nations, right, they spend ridiculous amount of money on research, right? Sometimes you might even be thinking that why are these people, putting this amount of budget into research? But the reason for that is because obviously the reason, like all these countries that are very, very futuristic right now, is because of the extent of research that they're doing into like situations that we haven't even gotten into yet, So it is the power of research that drives innovation. When you don't do research, you can't innovate, right? Which is the reason why Nigeria is not an innovative country. We are not innovative in our leadership, in our approach to education, in our approach to like all these problems that we have, problem with power, problem with infrastructure, problem with like everything about the country, right? So that's the problem. So, so that's it really. You might struggle with research when it comes to Nigerian situation, but, if you go on the internet using like a couple of like free resource and some paid research that you find on the internet, you find one or two things. But on a more global level, if you're thinking about something for Africa or something for the abroad or something more international, definitely you find like a lot of data on the internet and stuff, which is also like another opportunity for maybe some of you guys might decide to start like a research agency, right? Where you are just picking on like specific data, specific industry, and then doing like white paper research on that industry and then just making that information available. That you're sitting like on like a ton of, it's a gold mine if you're doing that, if you decide to go into that and, just have an agency where you're doing research, conducting like extensive research on like maybe like poverty situation in Nigeria, the effects of, oil and gas mining in Nigeria, just those sort of like very, very important data that can drive innovation. If you're able to do that, that's going to be very, very incredible. Even down to like our population, if you can go into like our entire population, how many of us are men, how many of us are women, how many of us are employed, how many of us are unemployed, how many of us have a job, how many of us are earning up to like 100K, 200K. Like if you have that information, you are sitting on a gold mine, so yeah, that's it.
Zoom is back.
So Ngozi, I mean, so I haven't shared like recommendations with you, right? I also wanted you to like see how things would have been better very, very quickly, right? So here, your title for like this presentation is an application for diabetic patients to get diet recommendation using the double diamond product design process, right? So that's good and that's very, very direct. But when you're choosing the title for your presentation, it's important that you focus on the impact of the work that you have done, as opposed to just coming up with like a literal description of the work that you have done. So what you have done is just like a literal explanation, which doesn't really capture the impact of the work that you have done. Alternatively, you can have something like reducing diabetic patients' mortality with a diet recommendation app. That's something else. That's another idea of what that can be, as opposed to this other title that you have here, which again, like me and Babaki have been emphasizing, it's just beyond like just doing UI and UX and all that. You can see that now, this one now is also down to like the idea, the feeling that you want people, the feeling that you want to, what's that word now? I'm not getting it. Just basically how you want people to feel when they read your title. So the feeling that somebody will get when they read the title that reads an application for diabetic patients to get diet recommendation using the double diamond product design approach is different from when somebody reads reducing diabetic patients' mortality with a diet recommendation app. What do you think, Ngozi?
I think this is more apps and drives the message than what I point.
So that's like very, very key. And you can see that your title is also very, very long, right? And you're also using like different title case. So in this, an application for diabetic patients to get diet recommendation, it is all caps. Then this one, you're using normal, what's this? There's title case. Babake, what's this one?
I think maybe sentence.
Sentence case, and then you're using sentence case here, which you shouldn't do as a product designer that understands typography, right? So you see that as a product designer, it will affect everything that you do. It would affect your relationship, the way you arrange your house, the way you take care of your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your family or whatever it is. It will just show in everything that you do. Essentially, the way you type, even just normal Word documents, the way you do it will be different from how other people are doing it, right? So the hierarchy thing that I was telling you, right? So this is your title you want to use, and here in Google Docs, they have already given you like all of these things, right? So this is your title. You should do it in your title. This is your title, right? And then what is diabetes is an heading, right? So let's do that as, is that an heading? I think that's probably, maybe let's use like heading 2. And then, this is your text here, which is like really good, normal text. Oh, sorry. And then, identifying problems, that's probably maybe like a subtitle, you do that here. And, so when you do, so look at this now compared to this other option that you have here, it's a lot easier to read this and just scan through this. So when you're doing any piece of presentation that people have to read, you have to style it in a way that it is easy for people to scan through what you have done. So people can just scan through it and just pick out all the points that you have done. In this one that you have done here now, it's difficult for you to scan through what is here. You have to read through it one by one for you to make sense of everything. But here now, when you use like all these different styling, it makes it easier for people to just go through this in the first like 30 seconds and just make sense of everything that you have done. And then they can come to the top again and then start going through it one after the other again. Okay, what is diabetes? Go through that. What is this? Go through that and all that. Ngozi, did you get that? And the rest of the class as well. Did you guys get that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great stuff. Yes. So we are leaving Ngozi and going to Badamosi Miriam. Let's go to Badamosi Miriam. Badamosi, are you here? Miriam. I think she was on the call earlier. Okay, I guess she dropped off. Okay, but I really like what Miriam also did here. I mean, number one, the fact that she was able to sort of bold in her own title here is really good. So that's a plus. That's some points here. And then she talked about a hypothesis that led to this work, which is like really good. I like when you use like industry lingo. That's really good. So that people understand that you know what you're saying, right? So hypothesis for this work is that certain diet plans can help people with diabetes manage their blood sugar levels, right? Which, I mean, if they are able to manage their blood sugar level, it will help them avoid death, which is like the end of diabetes, right? And then, so what needs to be validated? She mentions that whether diet plans can help people with diabetes reduce their blood intake, and then whether an app is the best solution for the problem. This is like really, really apt, and it makes a lot of sense. And then the purpose of the research is to validate the problem and the suggested solution, right? So what are we trying to validate? From the concluded research, lack of awareness or information was the most common reason why people do not follow diabetes-friendly diets. And also in this research, she talks about this here, participants have reported satisfaction with mobile application and how it has increased their motivation to handle lifestyle habits. This is like really, really, it makes a lot of sense, right? So she's saying that the reason why she's doing this app, right, is because one, in this research now, it points to the fact that the lack of awareness or information about like all these diet options and all that is the reason why people don't follow diabetes-friendly diets, right? That's one. And then you now put that side by side with this other research that says that, the participants in the research have said that mobile applications has helped them increase their motivation to handle lifestyle habits, which just makes perfect sense, right? So on one end, people are saying that the lack of information and access to that information is the problem why they are not following it. And then on another end, you have people saying that mobile applications has helped them improve their habits, right? So that means if there's a mobile app, if there's an application that does things that provides information on diabetes-friendly diets, available as a mobile app on mobile phone, right? It will just make a lot of sense, right? And then after that, she goes on to a user journey app. Choose what illness is pertaining to you, and then set the calendar and view the meal plan for the day. and then this is where it ends. I don't know. I think Badamosi wanted to show some more things here, but unfortunately it's not here. And I really hope that she would be here to just take us through other things. But, from this beginning here first, this girl, she's really, really hot. The way she's thinking about the research, it makes perfect sense. But, sadly, she's not showing us the other part of our project, which is very, very unfortunate. Babake, do you have something to say?
No, I mean, you said everything. I really like the build up, how she started document. I mean, if this person improves on the writing and everything, I think she's really got this. I mean, from the research, I mean, all of these things that she's already pointing out. Oh, but Badamosi might be a guy or a lady. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So it's Badamosi Miriam. So that's what I thought.
Oh, okay. It's a lady. Okay. Yeah. So this person is already on the path, and then I mean, I really like how she is writing everything one step at a time, because it's going to help when she's working in her final portfolio, because she'll just come and be drawing some points here and then use, and everything is well laid out. Yeah.
Thank you, Baba. So we'll leave Badamosi now. I hope you hear from Badamosi later. But she was really on to something. So let's check out meal plan for diabetes patients 1-AK. Who is 1-AK?
That's Peace Lawson. Like my phone wasn't opening it, so I had to use.
How are you now, Peace? What's popping?
I'm fine. Good evening. Please don't open my own. Like I just started in the evening.
So please talk us through this. You didn't even give us any context on this. Like, how did you get here? Okay. Let's understand now. How did you get here? Talk us through this very quickly.
Okay, actually, I'm someone that actually has to sit to think through, to write all those research. And I looked at the time. I got back from an event. That was so Saturday. I had to do any assignment I have. So I picked up this around 5. I was asking myself, should I go through the tutorial? Let me just go into the design. So, and I just tried doing this, because if I want to go with the angle of, they don't have restaurants that actually provides food that they can actually go for, especially in my country here in Nigeria. Our country, Nigeria, you can't go to restaurants and get it. So that's the angle where I would actually love to come in. So that was why I started like this.
Oh, okay. So let me get that. What you try to do in your own case is to build an app where you can find restaurants that serves food specifically for diabetic people. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only them, other people that have similar health issues. They should be free. They should also have life like other people that can walk into restaurants and be comfortable to order what is healthy for them.
Oh, okay. That's really nice. I think that's like really, really, that's awesome actually. I think that's like really good. I mean, of course, there is like a lot of improvements that you could have done here in terms of like the design, the UI side of things. But fundamentally, in the idea of what you try to do with this, in the idea of the product, it makes perfect sense. It makes a lot of sense to do that. It makes a lot of sense. In terms of UI, in terms of you telling us, because I mean, if I were reviewing this as a hiring manager now, I will call you and ask what was the idea of this. I'll just make my decision based on what I'm looking at. And if it is based on what I'm looking at, you probably won't get a call back from me, but which is why it makes sense that you would have done like a bit of writing. Just this thing that you have said now, just write it down on the top that this is the idea that I was trying to do with this. So this is the problem. And, this thing that you said now that in your own country, Nigeria, there aren't a lot of restaurants where you can go to and, eat food that actually takes into account the health concerns of like people who are suffering diabetes and all these things, right? And then you thought about having an application where you can just go through and then you put in your location and then it shows you all the restaurants that are closest to you that have foods that was built with, that was cooked up with diabetes and all these other health conditions in mind. That's all. So you are just reaching that. Anyhow you write it, just put it together and then you continue to improve on that. Keyword is that start with something and then continue to improve on it over time. So I thought this was good. I thought the concept of this was good. And, obviously, as you continue to work on this, you improve on it. Babaki.
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to say add to that also. So like we also said earlier that there's no one right way to do it. Like, so this is one way. And I really like the feedback Gary gave, which was really good. So there's no one way to do stuff in product design. You can start from any point and then go back to another point. Like, for example, now like if you probably saw this through and you designed this UI, you now go and give it to one user and say, okay, would you want to use this kind of app? And then you're like, I don't want. Then you've just validated that, oh, what I was doing, there's a better way I should do it. And then you start asking the person questions. So you even have something that you can go and show your user that, okay, this is what I'm thinking about people having this kind of problem. I want you to use it as my user. And then you start getting some of their feedback. And then all of those things will even go to more of your writing. And then you see that, man, these people are not even looking for stuff like this. So this is exactly what they want. Then it's going to like give you like the North Star where you want to go. So this is good, but like he said, you should have written, because now he had to call you to come and explain what the idea in your head. If you give this out to a recruiter and then they just look at it 3 seconds like, man, I can't come and kill myself. I don't even understand what's going on here. They just go. And you get, so that's the whole idea why you have to go through those stages to at least then whoever is really looking at your project, you have a context, and then they look at what you're doing. So for me, and you can see that why we started this program, we didn't jump straight to the to design. As you notice, like when you jump to design straight, you'll be stuck. Simon, can you please mute? You'll be stuck because you probably not know what next to do. Like, what should I even add there? But if you have gone through all of the processes, like everything, you would not be that stuck. I mean, you won't be this stuck that you even don't know what to put next and all of that. So, but this is a good work. I mean, you've done a very good stuff. So you just need to practice more and do more. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Babaki. And just to further buttress what Babaki just mentioned, following the process from the beginning, doing your research, checking out other applications in the market and trying to sort of like identify the gaps in those other applications, right? It truly just gives you all of the information that you need for the one that you want to do, So you won't get to this part now and then you don't know what should happen on the next screen, what should happen on the next screen, what should happen on the next screen. As you're coming on your journey, you already pack all the understanding that you need, that on this screen, they are signing up. On the following screen, they are doing this. On the next screen, they are doing this, So here, you are just sort of like it's like when you want to build a house and you already have a 3D prototype. You already know there's 50 rooms, there's a toilet here, there's this here. You already have a blueprint, so you're just building on that. As opposed to when you just come and start from here now, then, so you have already built the house. Where are you going to fit your kitchen? Where are you going to fit your toilet? And then you find out that your kitchen and your toilet is in the same room, that sort of thing. So that's what happens when you jump to the design first. But by starting from the very, very beginning, it helps you to have an overview of everything that you want to do and sort of understand where is your kitchen going to be, where's your room going to be, where's the entrance of the house, where's the exits of the house and all of that, So that's like very, very key. But altogether, thanks for putting this together, please. It's important that you are able to show up, and I'm glad that you really showed up with this. I look forward to you actually working on this more and, just coming to us with what you're able to, put together based on this particular concept. I think it's really, really great, so I look forward to further developments on this, So yeah, thank you, Peace.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So let's check out Abiodun, class rep. Okay. Abiodun, you can unmute yourself. We have business.
Hello, boss. How you doing?
Well done. I'm good though. So number one thing first, your margin. Why? Yes. So your margin.
Sir?
I said number one thing first, your margin. The margin in your design, right? So this is like one whole stretch of a PDF, right? I mean, that's okay, of course.
Yes, sir.
but I was talking about your margin, right? So your margin on the left here, your margin on the right
Yeah,
here.
it's too
So
small.
this guy is like too close to this guy. This guy is like too close. I mean, he doesn't have any breathing space now. You should have given it some breathing space. Why didn't you do that?
I just opened the MacBook frame and I put it straight up. I was rushing. I just started this assignment 10 p.m., 2 hours to submission time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Put everything together. So I just jammed everything.
Okay, yeah, that's
together
fine.
with all research that I have made, though. So I just put everything together in last night.
Okay, all right, great stuff. I mean, thank you for still putting it together anyway, for submitting this. Thank you. So let's go through what you have done, right? Techhaven assignments, following the double diamond process to design an app that people suffering from diabetes or other similar illness can use to get that recommendation sustain healthy. That's good. I'm sure that Abiodun, by now you already know what your introduction is supposed to be. It shouldn't be this. Abi?
Yeah, no, I just wrote that question so that, well, it's just for submission purpose. This is my introduction that under the process. The work started from the process.
Oh, okay.
What we have up is just the question.
Okay, so we skip that. So the process, based on available global data from the World Health Organization, about 1.5 million died as a result of diabetes in 2019. I carried out research to find out what types of diabetes exist, and I discovered there are 3 types, namely gestational diabetes, type 1 diabetes, and type 2 diabetes. Gestational diabetes occurs in pregnant women, and it is discovered through prenatal screening rather than through symptoms. Women with this gestational diabetes are at risk of complications during pregnancy and during delivery, right? In the end, both mother and child are at risk of type 2 diabetes later in the future. Okay, then type 1 diabetes occurs in children and all that. Type 2 diabetes results from the body's inefficient use of insulin, more than 95%, and all that information. Then for this project, we'll be concerned with type 2 diabetes. Furthermore, this project will be concerned with helping diabetics control their weight by giving them diet recommendations. Users would be able to speak with dietitians and have personalized medical consultations. So my first question would be, here you said that for this project, you will be concerned with type 2 diabetes. In your previous statement, you mentioned that there are 3 types of diabetes. Why have you decided to focus on just type 2 diabetes?
Okay, yes, because of the nature of those ones, and of course, the assignment even implies type 2 diabetes, and what the World Health Organization has on the website focuses more on type 2 diabetes. So now the gestational diabetes has known cause, no cure actually. It's just discovered through screening. Oh yeah, and type 1 diabetes occurs in children by deficiency of the insulin.
Okay.
The cure to it is a daily application of the insulin. What is most common and can be medically managed, or what people will need a solution for, is the type 2 diabetes that is most common in people and can be managed by diet, which the assignment implies.
Dr. Abiodun. Dr. Abiodun.
I think his research is strong, right? I mean,
very strong, actually.
He wants to improve on that one. I mean, it's very, very good. In fact, this is what, if you are talking to a researcher, you just become party one time.
Yeah, absolutely. Abiodun, so that makes perfect sense, right? But then you should have given the context for that decision in your presentation, right? So now that you have said that for this project, you'll be concerned with type 2 diabetes, it also makes sense that you state the reason why you have decided to do that, you know, which obviously is these reasons that you have talked about. So you might not even go like into all the details that you've just talked about, but you just say it like very, very aptly that, you know, we'll be concerned with type 2 diabetes because it is the only one that is concerned with like, you know, diets and all that. All of the other ones doesn't have anything to do with like diets and all that, you know, just very aptly, you just put that out there, you know, just as this is what I've decided to do, and this is why I decided to do what I decided to do, you know, that sort of thing. So it would have made sense to this, you know. So yeah, that's one thing that I think you should have done there. But you know, I mean, just like Babake mentioned, your research is like really, really good. You know, this. So as a product designer, we learn, we sort of become, we have. There's this thing they call like, is it domain expertise? Yeah, I think that's the word, right? Product designers in any industry that we go and work, we sort of become Oga in that industry. We sort of like this work now. By the time you are done with this work, you sort of know so much about diabetes. You'll be able to, I mean, obviously you are not a doctor, right? But you'll be able to have conversations with a doctor about diabetes, you know, which is what I love the most about product designers, right? In every project that you work on, you are forced to learn so much about that particular industry, whether you're building something for education or you're building something for, you know, whatever kind of challenge that you're trying to solve, right? You sort of gain expertise in that particular domain, right? Which is something that I love about, you know, the work that we do as product designers. Babake, I think you want to say something about that.
Yeah, that's very true. So from experience, so for me, I have worked in a fintech industry before. So like I know when you're talking about 2FA, all of this, they are lingua, this thing, there's some big grammar that they use in that. They are, when you're talking to a backend engineer, all of those things. So it gives you this exposure, and then you really see how some industry, like you can just, for example, as a pro, so I developed this habit, like I just talk to people, like I have a friend, his name is Samuel, he's into research and this thing, he did biochemistry. So sometimes I want to know how they do their processes in his company, if there's a way we can digitize some of it. So product design it's going to open your perspective a lot. You talk to people in different industry, and then you now look at how you can use your own skills. Okay, these people, is it an app they need, or is it a web page they need, or is it a whatever solution that is digital that you feel you can design for them. Then you start writing when you were talking to this person, you spoke to an expert and you find out that they still do some of these things manually. What if we design a POS, or what if we design like a product or something that can help them take all of their manual processes and then put it online, blah, blah, blah. So like I said, it's going to give you so many exposure into industries. Yeah, I can say that from experience.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Babake. So moving on, you then talk about your research. So we're carrying out the research for this work. I spoke with a few people living with type 2 diabetes and people who have or had a family member that has or had it. So the interview results reveals that this set of people would like to have some possibilities in any digital solution that seeks to help them manage their condition well. What they desire to have included, but are not limited to, the ability to speak with doctors at short notice, access to dietitians, and exercise routine, and proximity to caregivers. It is with this information that I have come up with an application that incorporates some of these needs so it can be launched as an MVP. Updates will be introduced to it subsequently as more needs arise. Okay, that makes sense. So I like what you did here. I like how you talk about, you know, how you try to just summarize all of your research into, I spoke to these people and this is what I found out in everything that I did. But the extra thing that you could have done here, you know, just to show proof that true, you spoke to people, would be number one, to attach maybe like voice recording of the conversation that you had with those people. You can maybe take out like where they are talking about sensitive things, maybe things like their name and contact information, and just, show only a snippet of that recording where they were sharing like some of these specific concepts with you that, oh, okay, they would like to be able to talk to a doctor there, they would like to be able to do this, they would like to be able to do that, just to show proof that true, you had that conversation with those people. Also, you also mentioned that while carrying out the research, I spoke with a few people. So saying things like I spoke to a few people in your case study is often like, it's very, very vague, right? Your few people can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 10, it can be 50. So it's relative, right? So it's always best that you mention exactly how many people you spoke to. Even if it's just one person, don't think of it that it's too small. The fact is that you spoke to one person. If it's 2, if it's 3, if it's 4, be specific about like all the data that you have. Oh, I spoke to 10 people, I spoke to 5 people, I spoke to 10 people, 2 of them have, a relative that has passed on from diabetes. 3 of them has a relative that is currently dealing with diabetes. 5 of them are currently dealing with diabetes, that sort of thing. You mentioned exactly the kind of data that you had, right? And then you sort of show if it's like screenshot, if it's like recording, if it's like video call, whatever it is that you had, you just show proof that, this is what actually happened. That further, it's just like proof of the things that you said that you did. And it's always very, very good to see that. It also sort of like, it makes your point stronger when you're showing that to maybe somebody that wants to hire you or, whatever that is. Babake, do you want to say something like that?
No, honestly, I think you've covered everything I've said. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then you also mentioned that your MVP, right? So I would also have loved to see how you decide on what your MVP is. Because now you have just said that, your MVP, and in your MVP, we don't know what your MVP is going to be. So it would have made sense for you to show us that, okay, what exactly is going to be your MVP, and how did you arrive at the concept of your MVP? Did you speak to certain engineers and they told you that, okay, for a start, this is what I think makes sense for an MVP? Or did you speak to these people and then you try to gauge which one is more important to them? That's another way you can arrive at what your MVP is going to be. So obviously from these people, you have learned from them that they want an app that, recommends diet for them. They want an app that shows them, that allows them to book consultation with a doctor. They want an app that does like all these many, many things, right? So now you also have a conversation with them and sort of gauge which one holds more relevance for them, or which one is more important to them, or in all the current solutions that they have, which one can they not find in all the current solutions that they have? So maybe from that, you can find out that being able to immediately talk to a doctor when they have an episode is what is more important, or having, an exercise routine is what is more important to them. So that can be how you define what your MVP is going to be. And, here you would also show us how you then arrive at that decision of your MVP, So yeah, it would have made sense for you to also show that. And then you go ahead to show us like your low fidelity wireframes here. So which is also like, so I mean, these wireframes, these are good, but it is existing in isolation, right? So whenever you're presenting the work that you've done, it's important that you put them side by side with the problem and the solution. So in presenting your low fidelity wireframe now, you need to show it contextually and say that, oh, okay, this person said they have a problem with getting exercise routine, and then I decided to build an exercise routine, and this is what it looks like. And then you take us through the specific parts of your exercise routine that, okay, you click on this button to do this, you get this. Oh, I spoke to a gym instructor, and then the gym instructor did this and all of that, because obviously you're not a gym instructor, you're not a fitness trainer and all of that. So obviously you need to also speak to like fitness instructors to sort of understand how can you frame, or how can you sort of like picture an exercise routine experience within an application. So based on whatever it is that you get from there, you show that here. So obviously each of these different things that these people have said that they want to do is like an entire feature on its own, and it requires a lot of like further digging and investigation into like all the stakeholders that are going to be involved in that, So you would have also shown that here and show that, oh, okay, I spoke to a fitness instructor and, the person said this about, exercise for diabetes people, how they can burn out fats, how they can burn out meat and all that. And then you show that here, in terms of your design. So obviously that is missing from here, and you could have shown that, and that would have just been very, very beautiful to see. But outside of that, again, also like your user flow, our like different things connected. So here, this is not a prototype that we can interact with, so we are not really able to sort of like make sense. How do I move from this screen to this screen, from this screen to this screen, from this screen to this screen, you know? So all of those things would have sort of like made sense so that we just sort of understand how exactly is this app supposed to work. But I guess, you know, obviously because you didn't have a lot of time, so you didn't really get the time to get into all of these things. But outside of that, your research work is like a 10 over 10. It was like really, really good. And when I just asked you more questions, the way you were able to just go through everything that you learned on that process, it makes a lot of sense. You're getting a lot of points from me on that. And you know, all the decisions that you made on this, you know, also really, really good. The conversations you had with those people, you know, also really, really good. But I really loved like all those things that I've just said that you could have done better is the only thing. But outside of that, you know, this is like really, really good work. Really, 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 really good work. Well done research. You know, that's that. Babaki, before we go to the other one, do you want to say anything to?
No. I think this is good. What I would want to add is we'll go to the topic of the fireside chat that we'll be having that's coming up very soon. So I don't know if it's something you want to present or you want to improve on it with the feedback and also show it. Like, that would probably be something I would like to see. Like, if you can make more progress on it and then present it, maybe.
All right.
Yeah, that would be really, really good, Abiodun. I hope you're able to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Drew, for doing this. So Iyola, right? Iyola, no, Iyola, are you here?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Gabriel, how many names? Only you, Gabriel, only you, Iyola, only you, I know Luapo. How far now? Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Yes, how are you doing? Good afternoon. Oh, sorry.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, just looking at this is really beautiful. So let's dig into the concept. Okay. So let's get into this, right? So
this is awesome.
It's already looking good. So let's get into like what you actually do. So according to research, this is the information that we have. And then the task, we talk about the task, and then this. So
wow.
I don't finish work. So Gabriel, this is work, right? But like a lot of things are missing here that would have given context and strength and depth to the work that you have done here. So obviously you are focused more like the visual side of things, and it looks really beautiful, right? You have shown us the color, although you also didn't give us like context for the color. Like, why did you decide to use this color, right? You didn't give us context for all of that. This typography, you know, you're showing all of these things, the icons that you used and all of that, wireframes and all that. So we can't really talk about this because we don't understand the context for this. We don't know the research, we don't know the feature, we don't understand the users, we don't understand the different research that you do. So, Gabriel, do you want to talk to us about this? There's so much noise in your background, though, so you would have to leave your background if you want to talk.
Actually, I'm on transit. I'm moving from Ibadan to Lagos.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So maybe you can do a recording of this, of the context for this, and then share it on the group. How about that? And then me and Babake can listen to it later on.
Okay, sir. I will do that, sir.
Okay, good stuff. So you can do that. But
I'll do that, sir.
This is really good. This looks good. But I'd like to just see more about like the depth of this, even more about like this UI now. We are not even able to see like the features. How exactly are people supposed to use this and all of that?
Yeah.
So, I look forward to
Yeah,
getting
that's going to be my feedback too. So there are some of like you wrote the scenario and that and all of this, but we don't know the what each page. I mean, a bit of write up about each of those screens would actually make this more rich. Yeah, maybe make it more richer, and yeah. But I think I like you on that part. You've done a very fantastic job, to be very honest. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, great stuff, Gabriel. So I look forward to like further development from this, and hopefully we can also have this ahead of our
Yes, sir. We'll do that, sir.
Okay, thank you, Gabriel. And to the last one, Adeyemi Adegoke. Let's see. Okay. All right. So, Adeyemi, are you here?
Nice.
Yes, I am.
Okay. How are you doing, sir? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Chief.
Okay. All right, so let's go through this together. So your overview, according to World Health Organization, okay. The problem is, design an app that people suffering from diabetes or other similar illness can use to get diet recommendations for staying healthy. So that's not really a problem, right? So first off, like that would be like one of my first feedback. So you need to learn how to frame your problem properly. Right. So the problem isn't to design the app. That's more like the challenge of what you want to do. The problem is that people are dying. The problem is that people don't have access to like diet recommendations. That's the problem. And then the challenge is to develop an app to solve that problem. Sure, you get. Did you get that? Do you hear me?
Yes, Chief. Yes.
Okay. So please learn how to like frame things properly. And then you talk about your research, right? So first off, you're doing your research, right? Research objective is to discover the current approach to solution. I don't really get that. And then the number 2 is discover the possibilities of monetizing the solution.
Sorry, Chief. Let me. Can I come in, sir?
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me confess. First of all, I started this whole thing today, and I was kind of torn between what to use. As of yesterday, I had really poor network because I was, just like Mr. K said, the project itself really gave us a lean pool to work with, because how do you locate people with diabetes? And even at that, we're in Nigeria, considering health status is something kind of personal. People are not willing to disclose. So the only people I targeted were the caregivers, which are the doctors, the dietitians, and all that. I barely could get my Google form to respond because of poor network. So this morning, as at 10:30, I had to like just pick the competitive analysis as you did the last class, saying that solving may not necessarily be the only means to do the research. So I just had to limit myself given the time frame I had to work. So you definitely see a torn idea between trying to do research, survey, then switching back. I was just all over the place. So
okay, well done, number 1. I'm clapping for you right now, if you can hear me. Doing things despite very, very challenging situations and very, very challenging situations that you find yourself, is the recipe for greatness, right? So the fact that you're able to do this despite like the very, very tough situation you found yourself is very, very key. So that's one. So well done for doing that. Number 2, I'm also going to sort of like further validate this approach that you decided to go with, right? Going this route is also another thing that we've talked about, and I'm also going to talk about it again. It is not every time that you're going to have the chance to sort of like do extensive research or talk to people and stuff. The work that you do sometimes might, like you have found yourself, might be to sort of look at current solutions, right? So maybe you can go in the app store and look for apps that currently do these things, look for people who have dropped review on those apps and try to get their information. So maybe you can go and look for them on Facebook and tell them that, oh, you're building an app and you'd like to get their thoughts on, something that you're doing. So, there isn't like a one direct way to do any of these things. There's always going to be you trying out a different approach based on the situation that you have found yourself. So obviously you are not in a situation to do survey and analysis and all of that. So you have to find another way to get to finding information, which is competitive analysis. So how do you then move from there? You can just look for people who are currently using those products and then talk to them about the ones that you're doing, So well done on doing this. And, just thank you for doing this despite, just being creative in the very, very, very tough situation. And I hope that every other person on the call is able to see that it's not every time that you would have the chance to go and do all these other research methods that we have talked about. Sometimes, it can be competitive analysis, it can be auditing other people's app and trying to find out what could have been done better here, and then build on that, and then take that and go and show it to people, and then get their thoughts on that, and you have yourself a product. So you get. So yeah, so getting into this, right? Your research methodology is the competitive analysis, and this will be conducted among 2 different apps, namely Fooducate and My Sugar. So Fooducate, what does it do? Value proposition. The Fooducate app is a tool that allows you to track all the food you eat and provides you with information about the calories and macros you consume. Okay, customer review. Okay, this person said, I like the Fooducate app because it recognizes common packages. Sorry, let me take this away. Because it recognizes common packaged products and allows you to do more than just analyze your diet. You can track your hunger levels to figure out how certain foods specifically affects your body. What the Fooducate, okay, that's another one. And then you go into like the pros and cons. So why is this good? An easy database search feature that brings up great results and new products. Many people say they like the quick feedback about macros. And then what are the cons? The free version seems to lack info on micronutrients. Some reports of the barcode scanner not working on certain Samsung models. The coaching and community features are pretty limited, not available in Nigeria, okay? And then the My Sugar app, you go into the details about this, the customer review on that, and then the pros and cons as well. It's colorful and fun to use. It's customizable to Diabetes Monster, as an easy search tag, okay? And then the cons, your data must be manually entered unless you are using one of the AccuCheck connected meters. Okay, currently only not specific to Nigerian cuisine. Okay, that makes sense. And so based on that, well done on that, DME first. You've done very well in terms of sort of evaluating those products and trying to identify what are the problems with them in the context of Nigeria. That makes a lot of sense. And so product details. So I think here you're sort of trying to work on like the PRD of your own based on that analysis that you've done. And then the product opportunity is that profile local cuisines by their sugar content, tailor meals by disease type, and then offer pro feature as a monetized platform. Fantastic. So which is like a business angle to that. And then you go into like the user story. As a user, I want to dash so that I can dash. So as an Easy Eat user, I see you came up with a name for this. As an Easy Eat user, I want to view list of healthy lifestyle for a diabetic. So it would have made sense for you to give us the context for how you came up with this user story. So who did you speak to that informed these different features that you've talked about here? It would have made sense for you to, sort of like give us that context. So based on that, you went on to like a user flow. And, after your user flow, you went into your wireframes. Let's look at your wireframes. DMA, do you want to take us through this?
Okay. Yes. This is more like a work in progress, and I didn't want to kind of like. Okay, let's just start from the splash screen. The first one, this particular Easy Eat. No, not that. No, not that one. The one to the left, on the leftmost, yes. Yeah, so that's where the whole thing started from. It's going to make more sense when you prototype it. So
I
had a few issues, and because of the timing and all that, so I had to just get something out. I'll definitely some are just mere placeholders that with time we'll get the proper. I've imported some of the pictures and things we need. So yeah.
Okay. 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 So, I mean, from the splash screen, we land here in this onboarding, where you're trying to give more information about the product. And then from here, we go to, let's begin the journey, right? So you come to log in or sign up, just user authentication, basically. And then once you log in, you're seeing this dashboard. How are you getting this information, Egbeyemi?
Okay, sorry?
How are you getting this information?
Okay, this whole project, I'm sure it's not it's a huge project. So this is just like a face value thing. But if you click on the 3 menu bars on the left, so that one.
Baba Kenny, did you see that?
In fact, I'm blown away. You must present this one, though, because we are for project and design, case study, portfolio, anything like we want those guys. I mean, like you get feedback from them. It's actually very valuable from Precious, from I don't know the pronunciation of his name, the guy from Babylon. It's going to be really, really helpful. So please, if you have anything at all that you want to present, well, we'll still get to that session. So I'll just leave it at that. I know we are past time, but this is like the major, like the last time we'll have to talk like this, because the 2 Sundays we have is just guests talking to us. So that's why we are taking this time. So yeah.
But well done with this. You just wanted us to press the hamburger. You wanted us to
we must click the hamburger by force, by fire. And we clicked it down. It's a good one.
This is really good. Very nice interaction there. Really nice and sweet and very fast as well. So
and you know what I even like. I'm sorry for cutting you. What I even like about it is the fact that he's even putting a lot of UX into this. Like, so I know that the page is not gone, it's still on the page, and when I close, it comes back to the initial state it was. I mean, like, we have a lot of good people here.
Yeah, well done. I mean, great stuff since morning, since we started the class, right? We've seen a lot of really incredible things.
Thank you so much.
Good. So Egbeyemi, I mean, you've done some very good work here. Your research, which is like the analysis that you did, comparing those 2 arts and identifying the gaps in the, from the perspective of a Nigerian person that would want to use it, right? We get that. But I'd like to see more information, more data on, the user persona, the Nigerian that wants to use this. What are their pain points? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to achieve with the products? What is the context for all these different features that you have come up with? And, just more polish here, showing us like, how do you get to this place now? I mean, I'm just coming here. I haven't put in any information here. So how do you get this information? It's not like I've shown you the kind of food that I eat, so I'm guessing that this is an information that is populated over time. So maybe after like 30 days, I've, consistently put in information on the food that I'm eating. And then at the end of maybe like by day 30, right, it then shows me that over the last 30 days, this is my sugar, this is what my sugar level is supposed to be. This is the amount of body fat I would have gained over the last 30 days based on the food that I said I have been eating, that sort of thing, the amount of calories that I've consumed over the last 30 days, that sort of thing. So I'm really, really keen on seeing where you go with this. I hope that by next week, Sunday, rather, when we are having a presentation with our guest facilitators, we are able to show them like more things on what you've done here, So I'm really, really looking forward to that. So well done, Mr. Egbeyemi, well done, every single person, Gabriel, Ungozi, Gadamosi, Miriam, Peace, my person, Manabiodo, and the other people who didn't come through. I hope that you're able to see from what everybody has submitted here that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like the finest or the fanciest or anything. It just has to be there. You just have to submit something. And then once you do that, we then continue to move on that. And obviously, I hope that with this now, we are able to see that everybody in this program has like varying degree of understanding of the work that we're doing, right? And then you can reach out to each other and, you know, just talk about the work that we're doing, you know, what's up with this? Oh, I'm having this particular blocker, I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem, that sort of thing. So engage with each other. Don't let it be just you working on this thing. Reach out to each other. DMA, reach out to Abiodun. Ugozi, reach out to Peace. Peace, reach out to Lily. Lily, reach out to Nuhu. You know, just vibe together. Talk about the different things you're trying to work on, and just move from there. You know. So with that, we come to the end of our class today. Our review. I hope it's been impactful. I hope it's been helpful. I hope it's been valuable to everybody. I hope everybody who has stayed till this time has, you know, gotten one or two things right. You know, this class was recorded, so everybody that wasn't here would also get links.
Thank you. Please, sorry, Ridwan. Please, wait,
Yeah.
did you go through my feedback stuff? Did it open? I don't know if I lost.
Oh, sorry.
Please don't drop off yet. We'll still talk about our plan. I mean, how we want to do the fire site.
You can mute yourself now. There's so much noise in the background. NG Mama. Mama K, are you saying something?
I am seeing it too. I'm seeing good.
Can you see how lush this purple is? Really cute. Okay, let's try to go through this. I guess this is onboarding. Number one, I love this logo, right? I love, you know, it looks really cute. I'm in there, you're almost set. I love this engagement here, right? This interaction here, hang in there, you're almost there. I really like that. Enter OCP sends your enter the 5 digits. I mean, so first off, right, Ungozi, this is really cute, but then it's also confusing. So this is an input field. This is a button. Based on the normal standard in terms of like UI components and stuff, this is supposed to be the input field. And you know, just think of like existing knowledge, right? So if before within, this is like the first app in the whole wild world, right? Where you are just sort of starting to define what buttons look like, what input field looks like, and all of that. You know, this might have worked. But in a world where we already sort of understand what buttons look like and what input field look like, this is sort of like juxtapose this. So this is supposed to be the button. So when you look at this, right? Which one looks like button to you? Which one looks like input field? Ngozi.
Click the other way around. Click here.
There you go. So I mean, and you already have your input field here now. So why didn't you just carry over this guy that you have here and use it here instead of using this guy? And you already have your button here too. Ngozi, what's this? Are you there?
Next time, I'll try better.
What did you say?
I said I'll do better next time.
Okay. I mean, so you already have it here. So you just carry this guy and bring it here. This is already your input field. This is your button. You just bring this guy here. And, you know, again, the issue of what is it called? Your type case, right? You're using all caps here. You're using title case here. You're using sentence case here. You need to work on all of these things and make sure your styling is consistent throughout. But, you know, moving on, list of recommended diets. I guess, you know, this is a work in progress. You know, choose a payment plan. I like the business angles here. You can also chat. Nice, very nice. So the overall concept of this, I think it makes a lot of sense. But I'd like to see more of this. I'd like for you to like just polish this more, add more screens, and then sort of like prototype this. Let us see how the screens link into each other. That's
I think I did that prototyping. So I went on to this other area that looks like a play button. I don't know if it worked though. Sorry.
So this guy.
This one up close to the share button. Close to the share button on the Figma dashboard. So.
Oh, okay. Are you saying that you did some prototype?
Yes, I did.
Oh, nice. Let's look at that very quickly. Okay. Okay, so what do we click? Sign up. Okay. Sign up. Enter 5 digits. Okay. Hello, Ngozi. What would you like to do today? Request for recommended diet. Okay, so where's the button to move to the next place?
Click on the request for recommended diet. It's supposed to move to the other page.
That doesn't look like the button. I would expect that there will be like a proper button. But that's just feedback, right? So that's launch. Okay, so this is launch. Nice. I like the idea of this though, but I'd like to see it more. So I guess this is like a recommendation for, so I want to have my breakfast, and then so this one is sort of like connected to maybe like a restaurant, and that sort of. I'd like to get more into that. Oh, because there's so much more information in the background. But this is like really nice. I like the different approach to this. It's very creative. I'd like to see more of it. So hopefully by Sunday as well, we also have this to present to our guests. Facilitations will be coming in. So well done, Ngozi, well done. Babake, you wanted to talk about the next week's fireside chat. Over to you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen for the last time today. So here we sent out a survey. I mean, we just want to use it to collate questions that or portfolio or designs or any project you are working on. Just make sure you can present it. It's like there's a link to it. Maybe it's on a Medium, maybe it's on Figma, or maybe it's on or any platform, and also practice before then that we can engage our guests with, because the session is, we want it to be very valuable to everyone that will be on the call. The questions they'll be answering is how to get started in design, how to even get the first job, what do you do when you're doubting yourself, what do you do when all of those questions that we would normally have. But we've come up with some of these questions, but we still want to hear from everyone. So that's why we have this form. So we want to prepare for that day, basically. So I have this. We have this form created where you can put in project you are working on. It can be, I just explained now. You can just drop it here. And do you have a case study published on Medium or whatever platform it is? Also put that there, or design portfolio. So you don't have to fill every of the 3 forms. You can drop just one of these forms. So the only compulsory field here is the last one. We want everyone to put a question. So, and then we've talked about the category of the questions. Questions regarding design career. What do designers really do on their day-to-day? How do they solve problems? How do you work with developers? Like any question. And if you still have more questions that is not within this range, please drop it there. We want to engage them as much as possible. We have a session where we'll meet and greet them. We have a session where they will talk. We'll be asking them questions. They'll be answering. We have a session where we want them to look at some, based on the number of submissions and the time we have, we want them to look at some of the stuff that has been done in this space of 8 Sundays, 6 Sundays so far. We want them to see stuff and give feedback, which will be valuable to you also and to us also. So please, we've got 3 responses already. help us feed it and tell people on the group on Slack to also fill it, and it's also it will be valuable to everyone. So that's I'll also be following up on that in our Slack channel also to remind people to fill out stuff. I mean, it would be good we collate that before that day, so that me, Ridwan, and Imole can go through some of them and ensure everything is accessible before that day. Yeah, I mean, I believe that this is a very good opportunity for anyone that wants to just present something. Like, don't be scared of their feedback. These are like, I mean, these are people that even me, I look up to. So they are going to give, if I can even ask that they review my own portfolio, I'll be so glad. So, I mean, I just want us to take that opportunity. So we'll ask a question, ask away, and they are very, I mean, they will answer most of our questions. And if they can't answer, they will point us in the right direction. So, and also on that day, we're looking forward to everyone joining. I mean, you are not submitting any assignment, there's nothing, don't be bothered, just come and have fun and just listen to what they have to say. And I'm very sure you would have something to take out of that session. So I really want more people to be there. We have 19 people on the call now. Like, just tell your friends or anyone to join. Anyone that even dreaming of becoming a designer, just tell them to come in. It's not a matter of if you started from the beginning or not. We just want people to join that call and create more awareness about product design, research, and everything. That's the whole essence. So I'm going to stop sharing, and that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for joining. I mean, as much as we enjoyed doing this, we really all here. Ridwan, I don't know if you have like a final word for everyone.
Not, me, I'm good. I'm very exhausted. But I mean, we enjoyed this a lot. But the real joy really comes from seeing the work that you guys are doing. And we are really, really hopeful. We are rooting for everybody on this call right now, and every other person who is not on the call, to go into the world and conquer and do amazing things and be really, really amazing product designers. So I mean, beyond the program, right, we'll still maintain communication. We'll keep the Slack community open. You can still always reach out to us with questions and concerns around to maybe when you are getting your first job, for instance, and you want to negotiate your salary, if you need help with that, or you get your first client, you want to negotiate how much they should pay you. If you need some help with that, we are happy to jump in there and maybe help you with that. So it's really, really beyond this. We are really, really particular about you guys succeeding. That would be like the biggest thing for me, right? For you guys to go on to the world and work at Facebook, or even launch
seeing everyone in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys maybe launch your own startup or work for some of the biggest companies around the world, in the US, in Europe, in the UK, in Africa, in Paystack, in Flutterwave, just doing amazing things around the world. We're really, really looking forward to that, which is why it makes sense that you guys are taking the assignment serious, submitting, so that we can gauge where you are and we can know, what else do we need to do to help you guys? What else do we need to do to help you guys? It's always very, very key. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so very much. Next week, make sure you come, make sure you tune in. It's going to be amazing. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Babaki.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you guys. Thank you, bosses. So bless you. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Mr.
Now, but I should wait.